Welcome everyone back to the Real News Network. I'm Jared Ball here in Baltimore. Today we're going to talk with our resident host and producer and political leader, Eddie Conway, formerly a member of the Black Panther Party here in Baltimore, political prisoner of more than 44 years, to talk a little bit about what this time of year, this holiday season, known popularly as Thanksgiving, means to him and to the struggle he represents. Eddie, welcome back to the Real News.
Thank you.
So as I said there in the intro, we did want to talk with you about this being the so-called Thanksgiving holiday season. From your perspective, in your political analysis and experience and the current work you're involved in now, what does this season mean to you?
Well, I understand how families have the need to get together and to celebrate, but actually it's really a hypocritical season, holiday. Thanksgiving, of course, is supposed to represent the indigenous people actually welcoming the settlers, the pilgrims, etc., opening their land, opening their space in their homes to people that eventually massacred them and practiced genocide on them and their children and their children's children today. They are probably on the reservations the highest rate of suicides of any young people in America. And yet the American population see this as a festive kind of thing to celebrate the relationship, and the relationship has been horrible.
You know, this week there's going to be a protest outside the White House looking to use this time of year to remind people of the plight of Leonard Peltier, the indigenous activist member of the American Indian movement who's been incarcerated somewhere nearly as long as you were.
Since 76, I believe.
Yeah, since about 76.
Yes.
Also looking to make this point, there seems to be this massive contradiction between this whole holiday season where we're constantly encouraged to recognize or to consider a need to share and to be communal with family and loved ones and even to forgive. And yet we still have the existence of political prisoners like Peltier. We still have the inequality that you deal with almost on a daily basis here in Baltimore. How would you think how would you think that people could use this time to reflect on what's really going on, or maybe about the direction this country is headed in, or the world is headed in? What maybe could this time be more appropriately, or how are you using this season to more appropriately politicize the people with whom you work or the loved ones with whom you engage?
Well, I think it's always important to try to reach into the community and work with people in the community. This season, like any other season or any other day of the year, I think people need to start engaging back in the community. They need to build the community again, and they need to build the community based on telling people, their history, letting them understand exactly what happens and how they play a role in their future so that they can actually stand up, empower themselves, and maybe change this. If you look at the indigenous population, that population was not only about peace and love, but it was also about taking care of the earth. It was also about being a welcome society, the very opposite of what we find today in America in the way it deals with the world, the way it deals with even pilgrims or refugees. And so this is something that we can teach people, young people and old people down in the community, but we need to teach them by actually being down there with them and building a better community.
What is this holiday season like for those who are currently incarcerated? What is Thanksgiving like for those who are in prison, as you were for so many years?
It's worse for political prisoners because political prisoners have a sense of consciousness and they know about the hypocrisy. but it's also bad. It's the one time that you might get a fairly decent meal, but it's also the one time that you realize, and it's a depressing time, because you realize that you're separated from your family and you're separated from your loved ones. And although they are having that celebration, and you might get a slice of turkey, in most cases processed, you are not part of that family and you're not part of that celebration. And that hits home. Christmas, Thanksgiving, various holidays like that. And you have more depressed people in the prison system during that period than any other period of the year.
Very lastly, I know you've somewhat touched on this already, but there's a movement in this country and actually around the world that supports recognizing this time of year as Indigenous Peoples Day as opposed to Thanksgiving. How do you approach not only the day itself, but that labeling? And do you infuse that in your own work? Do you encourage people to address this holiday as Indigenous Peoples Day?
Yes, I do that, and it's the same way I also always refer to Columbus Day as Mass Murderers Day. And I try to educate and let people know exactly what this means and what it represents, and the impact that this whole, the hypocrisy of the holiday have on indigenous people, not only here in America, but around the world.
Well, Eddie Conway, thanks again for joining us here at The Real News.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you for joining us here at The Real News. Again, for all involved, I'm Jared Ball here in Baltimore, saying, as always, as Fred Hampton used to say, to you we say peace if you're willing to fight for it. So peace, everybody, and we'll catch you in the whirlwind.
Thought-provoking, always smoking, lyrics like a bazooka. You are listening to Mutabaruka.
sad refrain, but that's alright. Rainy night in Portland, rainy night in Portland, Lord, it's raining all over the yard. Lord, it's raining all over the yard. How many nights I wonder, it still comes out the same. No matter how you look at it, it's life. You just got to play the game. So I sit down in a back car, play my guitar, pass some time. Late at night I go to rest. I held your pictures to my chest, and I feel sad. Rainy night in Portland, rainy night in Portland, like it's raining.
If it's raining, if it's raining in your life every day and night, you're so fed up with this bad luck, you don't know what to do.
Yeah, good night. This is the Cutting Edge on RFM. May I tell you, hey, them kind of rain will watch your people place and give people all sort of virus that float all over the place, you know. Yeah, man. I mean, I tell you, say, me I throw some virus that red. See, I'll tourniquet somebody here too. May I tell you, I don't know who shall go throw it pan tomorrow, but I throw some pan her and she come in and catch the virus, man. No, me I tell you, say, the rain, hey. A man I tell me about, say, me tell him say too much rain a fall, them I talk about. No amount of a while the rain, too much rain a fall. Too much blouse and skirt rain a fall, that's that. When we didn't ask for rain, we never expect rain to come, so we don't want some rain, you understand? But no, the rain a drop, man. The rain a drop. A 3 parish me come through here to reach us, and the rain no ease up at all. We hope to the people them safe and sound, you know, because you know, say at times like these, slippage happen. Like when me I come here out of Rockabet, some balls that drop off at the inside, so I'm going to ram up in that one, that lucky thing, so I have 20/20 vision. Alright, so I care about them, I mash up. But yeah, me really hope to the people them understand the levels. Like Port Maria, trust me, Port Maria, I mean, really, the water up on the road, like wow. So we just want the people them keep safe, you know. Yeah, we want the people them keep safe. Know which part of the drainage there and clean out the drainage. Even in the rain, you have to clean it out. But you should have cleaned it out before, you know. You should have cleaned out the drainage before. And you know, say after this rain, you know, is the minister Fenton Ferguson. And the Fred never gonna catch you again. That's a Fenton Ferguson. No, but him still control them. Him still control the mosquito them. Believe you me. Him still control the mosquito them. So, but want to know, say, right now, me know say rain a fall and nobody don't want to go outside and ray. But you see them whole pan and whole drum and whole coconut shell and all them something there. Bust them. Put hole in at the bottom of them and all them really, because trust me, after the rain a start, after rain a done, you don't want Christmas come and you find yourself in a bed. You know, some people want to find themselves in a bed still. You know, they want to find themselves in a bed, but you don't want to find yourself in a bed sick. You understand? Because it is not lovely to be sick in the holiday season. especially when no election will be kept. And I was say I tell you still, you know. You think it, and I go blow my own trumpet. and I blow my own trumpet. And I, you know, child, me have sense. Me no blow whistle, me blow trumpet. Me not go blow my own trumpet. I say I tell you, know. But I tell you, say no election I keep this year. And I want to tell you, so I'm going to tell you when it a keep. You know what I know when it a keep? You see, like how me tell you, say no election I keep this year. Me know exactly where. Me can't tell you the date when the election I go keep next year. You know what I know? Listen to the stepping ways that tomorrow. I'm tell you, believe you me. You know, you think that, hey, sometimes when we attack certain things, you know, people say, boy, more time can't get joke, you say, Rasta. But if you listen to what we are saying, you know, listen to what we are saying, and you know, joke business when it come down to the nitty-gritty of the thing, you know. Same like how when I tell you that I'm a birthday, 26th of December, I don't want an election card 26th of December. Believe you me know when the election I go call. Yes, me know when the election I go call. You think say uncle, the Prime Minister get touched? You think say me get touched? I'm the same person who touch the Prime Minister touch me. Yeah, it's a female too, you know. You see when she talk about say the master is really mistress she wants to still, you know, but true she like she has a leaders, one leaders. So when she really mean mistress, she really mean mistress when she say master. But yeah, the same mistress touch me too and tell me certain things. But we want to tell the people them so rain a fall and breeze a blow. And some people live in a chicken coop. It's a terrible thing. Terrible thing when people live in a chicken coop. I want to figure out because Tony called me and tell me say, this man live in a chicken coop, foul coop. And the people them are blame politician. Why not blame the politician for the man living in a foul coop for? No, in a phone country, in a phone era, the man living in a foul coop. You couldn't do something about it. Instead of call observer and now for go embarrass the government. And everything the government need for do still, you know. No, because if me see a man in my area, near my yard, I live in a foul coop, you know, me now pass him every day. I know do something about it, you know. Me I tell you, especially at the age where him supposed to be 70 years old. I know the people that talk about road, long time them tell the government. No, Rasta. Me not accept that. That's not government work. You know, see, that's how people who see the thing must rectify that. You understand? And that's that simple thing for rectify. Just like how the brethren come in now from me about it and just give him a house, and it's just a pity that after giving him the house, he never ever spend much time in the house, him is dead. But that's a terrible thing. But look how long the man in the when them say a foul coop. How long he in the foul coop that the people in the area never see that. And them a call minister this and a call this. What kind of madness that? That's like road one fix, you know. When road one fix, you call government and tell them, say, oh, you know, I call your constituent member and tell him that. But a man in your area, a little elderly man living in a foul coop, and you a call politician. Where you call politician for? Where you call politician for? Once you come to the area and look at the man in the foul coop and do something about it, Rasta. You can't just blame politician for everything, so. You know, see, and I blame the politician them for everything all the while, but it's raining.
Hey!
I listen to Philip Fraser. But you know you all hear on the radio nowadays still, but him have a history, you know, Philip Fraser.
It had to be somewhere near. If you just wipe this cloud away, you'll get some peace someday. Then you'll
R.E.F.M. Thought-provoking, always smoking. Lyrics like a bazooka. You are listening to Mutabaruka.
Cause he's not full of a plaster. Cause he's not full of a plaster. A junkin master. A junkin master. Trouble in me cause a disaster. Trouble in me cause a disaster. He ma kick a little faster. He ma kick a little faster. Won't you like a salt and pepper? Won't you like a salt and pepper? Cause he ma use cup and salsa. Him never look slick, say him fight the chopstick. Never look slick, him fight the chopstick. Hey, a junkie.
Yes, you know, we played a documentary quite a few months ago, but we want to play it again because, you know, sometimes when we play these things, you kind of miss some things tonight. Yeah, you kind of really miss some things tonight. But I listened it back 2 times and I hear something I never hear before the first time when I listen to it. And I feel it's very important. Because you know, this is not only just a radio program. This is an institution on radio. You understand? There is a history of Jamaica that we are not told. Because sometimes we talk about the history, we no call, no name, no call. I mean, we know about Columbus and, you know, Morgan the pirate and all them people there, but Verena Shepherd is the first person I actually hear go dig up names for ancestors of past slavery. She is the one who I hear come up and really go search and say, this one name that, this one name that we can call names. Well, you know that you have a part of Jamaica where English people did come to Jamaica and make them living off of slavery and cane because Europe and particularly Britain was addicted to cane sugar. So a part of this Jamaica capture land was about the cultivation of sugar to maintain and sustain the English appetite for that drug. Because cane sugar, the sugar itself is a drug. It's very addictive and it causes a lot of complications in one body. And apart from that, it has caused thousands, if not millions, of our ancestors to die in order to satisfy the appetite of the English. So sugar is really, apart from not good for you, not even a good thing for you, based upon how much people dead to maintain it in Jamaica, you know, believe you me. Just hearing about the amount of people were dead in slavery for plant sugar make me personally don't even want to eat it. So apart from me know say me not eat sugar, me I say but wait, as some people dead for not eat sugar for plant sugar, me not eat that. But we maintain that sugar industry in Jamaica because one of the things is that we send the sugar gone abroad and then bleach it and send it back and call it granulated sugar. So we have this white sugar that we use and them take our dark sugar and have it all in a health food store. But really and truly, sometimes the British, the English write them own story and dramatize them own story. And the story that we're talking about is the story of the family called Beckford that are the biggest slaves, the amount of slaves in Jamaica, in Westmoreland. We want to play back that documentary and we want the people to listen keenly to where go on in that documentary there. I mean, seriously. If you listen keenly, you will hear a whole heap of things where you hear ones that talk about now. For instance, black people build up the economy of England. People sometimes say foolishness we attack. Black people can build up economy of England. But those same slavery, that same slave thing, and the richness that was harnessed from slave labor and the sugar plantation them, helped to make Beckford be the richest man in England. And it's not, we have said that now. We have played the documentary written by and examined by English and examined by English themselves, talking about part of their history. Very important that this is English people are talking about English history and the relationship between the Beckfords and Jamaica and how Jamaica and the plantations in Jamaica allow England to be one of the richest and one of the family to be the richest family in England because of them investment in slavery and cane sugar in Jamaica. And what you will hear upon that is how power corrupt and absolute power corrupt absolutely. So we're going to interview a brethren from the David from the Nation of Islam. I have a book here with him, just send the book, come give me to us the book here, where the book thick, Black Studies, it's the art of the Black Studies anthology. And it's really a big book. I'm going to go through it still, you know. I don't know if I can read page by page because all the writing them fine in there. But it makes very interesting reading based up half of where I see already. So I interview him coming up. But we want you, well, I can't put tape on cock again, you know, because no tape not about the place again. But very important that you take a stock of where going in this documentary and the relationship between the Jamaica, the slavery, and England, and how Jamaica, particularly Jamaica, play a very important part in a lot of historical events that take place in England. Not just in modern times, where we talk modern times, about the 20th century or 21st century, but way back in our slavery days. A lot of people don't understand that. Them don't understand how this little island have created, this little island have produced so much greatness, yet still it's so backward politically. It's so backward in terms of how the people see themselves. The people them is traumatized. And we still find ourselves in the conditioning of Europe to the point where we would prefer to have the Queen still governing us than we governing ourselves. And that is caused by the present leaders in Jamaica. The present leaders in Jamaica has caused the people to believe that their purpose in life would be best served if the Queen was still ruling Jamaica. That is what these politicians have caused. These politicians have not given the people them a new insight into themselves and how them can elevate themselves. Because they have been so cruel in their political ideology that it has not allowed the Jamaican people to move further in the examination of who they are as African people. So they would prefer to see the Queen rule them. And most of the times, they would say, if we did their Africa, we'd have still run up and down naked. That is what them give us. Why we're asking about reparation? Why we're talking about repatriation? Why we're talking about Africa, as a matter of fact? Because the people them has been brainwashed into conditioning themselves in the Eurocentric idea of what is and who is a person. Yes, this is the Cutting Edge, and I RFM there with you as well. I tell you about how Britain, a lot of Britain was built off of the slave labor of our African ancestors, especially our Jamaican, or at least in Jamaica, from Jamaica. And as you will hear, the richest man in England, who was named Beckford, and his family, all their riches was gained from slavery and sugar. One should really examine this idea of sugar on a, what you call it, a political level, not just a eating level, but how sugar was used to enslave a people, and how people was enslaved because of sugar and the need for sugar. And this drug continue in the minds of Jamaican people, that you have people who can't even drink some juice without it sweetened with sugar. Terrible thing. And them have a little thing now, them call it Splendor. You think them easy? You think them easy because them a move where, them a move you from sugar, you know, but I put Splendor in there, you know. You know, see it? So the sugar is the basis of slavery. The industry that was created around sugar caused the British to go to Africa more and more and more and gather people to work on the slave plantation, like this place named Jamaica. Jamaica offer a good, what we call it, environment for the British to pursue them power hungry mind, where them look away not as human beings but as animals, to be what them call it, shuttled. The word shuttle originates from cattle, where you gather up cattle, say shuttle. So you know, say chattel slavery is seeing human beings like cattle. That is how we were looked at. In America, we were part human being, 1/5 of a human being. And no long that neither, you know. And no long neither, you know. When there was record, the black people in America was seen as 1/5 of a human being. Black people in America was lynched because them look upon a white woman clothes on the line. Can you imagine you pass a yard and a white man see you and look on some clothes on a line? And when them hear say is Mrs. Tony own that panty on the line, and you go look on it accidentally, them grab you and lynch you. Oh, you mean if you look and throw the panty on the line? You know, it's a terrible thing you go do to this white woman. Simple things like that. And that we are talking about just the other day. And 500 years ago we are talking about, and 400 years ago we are talking about, and 300 years ago, you know. And 200 years ago we are talking, and 100 years ago we are talking, you know. And just the other day, you have people who are live now, who experience that part of American history. Black people may talk about. And now when we look upon how England relate to black people, even in England, you'll never know. So the people in England, for them ancestors is responsible for the elevation of England as a first world country, yet still keeping themselves in dregs and drains. It's a terrible thing. Terrible, terrible thing. This is the cutting edge on RFM. As I say, we went to talk to David Mohammed. David Mohammed gone. David Mohammed gone. We want to get back David Mohammed on the phone. You understand? All right. David Mohammed is the Eastern Caribbean representative of the Honorable Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam. Black Agenda Project Director. The author of the book, Black Studies. Where me I show the sister here beside me. But me know the truth now, no picture. She won't read them book there. Because it's too big. And black people don't like read. Them say if you want to hide something from black people, you put it in a book. And the saying still go. If you want to hide something from black people, put it in a book. Especially when you know picture now in there. Picture, no picture, no picture. Black people don't like read book, a picture now in there. And black people afraid. A big book. Too much reading. Anyway, David Muhammad has placed a book in front, the black book, Mind Revolution, Black Studies. So we want to talk to him about his book. Salam alaikum. Okay. Salam alaikum, gone far now. That's what I want. He might get cut off every time. He might get cut off. Continue cut off. I don't know why that happened. But I really like talking about this book still because it looks very comprehensive. Very comprehensive. But we still want to talk about England. We still want to talk about Great Britain and the relationship where Jamaica have with Great Britain over the years. Because you know, see how most of the youth them were in a my age group. Most ones were in a my age group now. Them parents go over upon what them call a banana boat. Now for those of you who don't know what a banana boat is when we used to have this big exportation of banana to England. That was our main export. And it used to go to England because what happened that a whole heap away work on the banana boat. It was like a work on the Panama Canal. And when reaching England, looking for better, a lot of ones settle down in England and have children, and those children have children. Till right now, you have a big population of Jamaicans and young Jamaicans who never even come to Jamaica yet. As a matter of fact, you have more Jamaicans in England who never come to Jamaica yet than Jamaicans who did go to England with no Jamaica. And you have people who are not Jamaican who come from the other island who identify with Jamaica. You have people who, when police hold them with ganja, even though actually them come from, them start talk like them are Jamaican and of course bad like them are Jamaican. And you have whole heap of man get deported from America to Jamaica. We are not Jamaican. I don't want to these things, you know, because people, I said, boy, Muta, you know these things. Me say, listen to me, I say. You have people who did in a prison in America who get deported to Jamaica, who not come from Jamaica, their mother or father are not Jamaican. But because of them behavior and attitude, and because of where they were caught with the drugs, they were deported to Jamaica because all of them life, them a live in a Brooklyn, Flatbush, National Avenue, Franklin Avenue, all of them places there. A whole heap of them live among Jamaican and start to take on the persona of Jamaican. So when you walk down National Avenue, you hear all a bad word, and when you look, it's not a Jamaican that's the bad word, it's all a Trini. But him lose him Trini accent. And him is a born Jamaican. So when police hold him, I hear him attack. No, them not ask no question. When them ready for deport, a Jamaica them deport him to. You think a joke me I make? So now you have whole heap of Jamaican prisoners in England who never see Jamaica yet. But because England find themselves a go down now, them want to alleviate and ease up the pressure and the burden of finding how much money it costs to keep the prisoners them there. So Cameron come to Jamaica and say, look here, I'm going to give you some money to build a prison with the intention that we're going to take all of the Jamaican prisoners in England down here. Because right now they are costing us too much. And the British people, the English Parliament are ball. So we have too much things are going on, so we need to get rid of some of the prisoners them out of England. But you have a lot of Jamaicans who rise up in England, has made great contribution to that English society, to Britain, made big contributions to Britain. And we demand respect. We demand respect. So, what it is that in the days of slavery, we were not respected. Because I said before, we were seen as cattle. And when the man take many Africans from the Caribbean and carry to England to build up this and build up that, and it is undisputable that Liverpool was one of the main port of entry for a lot of Africans. And there's a place named Bordeaux, I don't want to call it wrong, Bordeaux, where, that's in France. Bordeaux. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but there's a place named Bordeaux in France that many of black people was taken there to build up that place. Then you have Portugal. Who can forget Portugal? Portugal, in the time of what we call slavery, chattel slavery, Portugal was one of the first places to take Africans from Africa and carry to Portugal, not to the Caribbean, because most of the Caribbean islands, they was either controlled by the French, the Spaniards, or the English. Because we must remember that the Spaniards did have Jamaica, and the British take it away from them. Capture land right through, thief from thief. Thief from thief. France, Spain, and England. Well, Portugal was one of those places. And Christopher Columbus from Genoa in Italy, was sailor and Portuguese ships who went into Africa when the Portuguese them was searching for slaves, for Africans to carry to Europe to become slaves. And they go to Brazil, but I want you to remember just a month or two ago, they found off the Cape Coast of Africa, in southern Africa there, they found the relics of a ship, a Portuguese slave ship, that they say was transporting about 200 Africans. And this ship got wrecked off that coast where the Indian Ocean meet the Atlantic Ocean. And all the people them on that ship died. They just found the relics of it. This ship. It was a Portuguese ship. I think it was on its way. Why is that a terrible thing, you know? It's a terrible thing when we all go find out these things and realize African people a joke on a joke, you know. Joke on a joke, Rasta. Believe you me, after all of them things that happen. And still maintain certain craziness. Joke on a joke. Well, it look like we now get this bridge in here, but we don't want to delay the thing, you know. We want to play this. We want to play this documentary, you know. Yes, we're going to play this documentary. It is all about the Beckfords. If you have a name named Beckford, if you trace that name, because them man, you know, I can tell you what them man do. Them man have all 50 slaves, 50 Africans are slaves, you know. And if you name Beckford, you just call all of them Beckford. You know why that? To identify you if you get runway. Because if you runway, if you're there Westmoreland, you know, and your slave master named Beckford, and so you run go Hanover, and a white man catch you. The white man say, what your name? You say, your name Beckford. Him say, oh, okay, you're a runaway slave. You run from the plantation on Westmoreland owned by Beckford. So I saw them identify the slave them. So most of we who have British English name, if you trace back how your parents get the name, it is because of the slave master wanting to identify the slaves by using his name to identify the slave. It's a kind of scientific approach, even though it don't look scientific. Because when the man tells you say your name Beckford, and every day you get up and say Beckford, all of the slaves them accept Beckford. All of the slaves them relate to themselves as Beckford. They may say John Beckford, Tom Beckford, Joan Beckford. So like he was the father for everybody. So when you escape and you say your name John Beckford, him not look on the first name, him look on the last name. You see, that's why them say the last name, when them call your last name, your surname, and the first name is your Christian name. You think them people are easy? Them not easy, you know. Them not easy. Your name first, and your name last and first. First name and last name. And that is how them do it. That is how they make you identify yourself. You identify yourself based upon the name. So when you hear somebody say, Beckford, you say, oh, you come from Westmoreland. And when your name, Thompson, you say, oh, you come from plantation owned by Thompson. A terrible thing, man. It's a terrible thing. Now black people in a serious position because all black people name them picking nowadays, them look on TV. And them like Kim Kardashian, them say, you know, so when I call me picnic Kim. I tell you, black people look on TV, I call it picnic Kim because of Kim Kardashian. Because if we can't get the bridge, I get that. Yeah? Because the salam alaikum again.
Yes, walaikum salam, Brother Mutabaruka.
But I thought I was going to give up on this thing, yeah? I was going to give up on it, man.
Well, I'm really glad we got connected, and I was listening to your discussion since 10 o'clock. And it was.
Oh, you was listening to it? Then you get cut off. I thought you get cut off.
No, I was listening on a radio.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, and before we get into what we have to discuss, I'd like for your listeners to know that your good self has been, a major a major beacon of knowledge on the radio in Trinidad, because for my radio program, The Black Agenda, ever since it was from about 2004 to 2010, I used 2 of your songs as the theme songs for my radio program. That was the People's Court Part 1 and the People's Court Part 2. And for 6 or 7 years straight, every night on the radio in Trinidad, they will hear those 2 tracks where I think in Part 1 it was a politician on trial for oppression.
And the Part 2 is the religion on trial.
Yes, and Part 2 is the religious leader.
Yes.
And, they were very, very well known for many years. Many people had inquired on them.
Yes.
And of course, so
I know a sister. She lives in Ethiopia now. She was in Anguilla as a teacher, and she invited me there. And I was in an interview, and they actually played the People's Code Part 2. And I was banned from the country.
Wow. Oh,
and the teacher was under fire because she actually invited that wretched person to Anguilla.
Well, Anguilla is still, of course, British overseas territory.
Yeah, well, I've not been back to Anguilla, and she's not living in Anguilla again. She's now living in Ethiopia. So that was that. All right, this black studies.
Yes.
Black studies mean what? What you study in blacks? How it work?
Well, first of all, black studies is a supplementary body of knowledge to give direction and guidance and inspiration within the traditional academic subjects such as economics, sociology, psychology, history, politics, etc. Our children, through the school system, are given a curriculum that teaches them history, but not their own specific history. It teaches them basic principles of economics, but not necessarily the black business success stories and the real motivational financial exploits of African people that have been tremendously successful. I mean, such as the richest man who has ever lived was an African man. The first black woman, or the first woman period who was a millionaire, was a black woman with a business idea. You have had several economic projects of African people that have been unparalleled, such as Black Wall Street and principles of black capitalism. Same thing in sociology. We learn the basic issues and data and statistics of modern society, but we don't necessarily get the opportunity to examine the condition of the black community from a socially scientific point of view. Same thing with psychology. So black studies offers the student insight into not just African history, but African social science in an academic way, with a syllabus that would really structure, organize, and sequence the content in a way to really educate our young people about themselves.
So it's really intended for scholars, young people who is searching for that scholarship in black...
them among others, because Chapter 3, for example, is Caribbean Studies, and it covers the entire Cape and university courses on Caribbean Studies. And then the chapters on black sociology and black psychology are basically academic. But one of the early bits of advice that we got on this book was that it should not be published as one book, but it should be published as 10 separate books, because each chapter is attempts to give a complete overview of the subject matter. But it's way beyond the student. So, for example, Chapter 1, which is entitled Black Liberation Ideology, has compartmentalized the 6 main strands of black thought, starting with Pan-Africanism, Henry Sylvester Williams, George Padmore, Sailor James, then black nationalism, the Honorable Marcus Garvey and Martin Delany, then the teachings of the Nation of Islam, Elijah Muhammad, Malcolm X, Minister Louis Farrakhan, Then the civil rights philosophy of Dr. Martin Luther King, Medgar Evers, the NAACP, and W.E.B. Du Bois. Then fifth is the Black revolutionary consciousness of Kwame Ture and the Black Panthers, Huey P. Newton, Eldridge Cleaver, Mark Clark, etc. And then strand number 6 is Rastafarianism philosophy, and in particular the teachings of His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie of Ethiopia. And what we have done is present these 6 expressions of black consciousness within different dimensions of the social struggle, and present, again, to our people in an academic way, a structured learning system on how we can get, in particular, the young people to learn about all of our greats rather than just relying on, peripheral information.
Yeah. All right, I ask you a question now.
Yes.
All right. You are visualizing that this book will be used, is it, them start using it in the curriculum of schools? Tell me.
Yes.
It's now part of the curriculum in certain schools, or it's still to be?
Well, first of all, copies of the book. In Trinidad, we're donating up to 500 copies to different schools in the Port of Spain area. We've already given out about 200 to 300. But much of the content is already on the syllabus. But one of the issues of African history, especially in the Caribbean, is that our history was written on the margins of the pages of other peoples. So the Chinese well documented their history. The French, who came in 1783 through the cedula of population to different parts of the Caribbean. Columbus and the Spaniards who came in 1492. The Chinese came to the Caribbean in 1806. The Syrians and Lebanese came in 1902. But it's still not in any of our social studies or history textbooks, this, on the primary level at least, the specific year that African people came to the Caribbean and exactly where we came from. So we are compiling and assembling and pulling together the bits and pieces of that lost great history that African people have that we're being deprived of within the school system. And of course, I heard you speaking about the sugar industry, and that is a classic example of the loss of the knowledge of African history, because in the year 1788, in that 1 year alone in Trinidad, for example, it was estimated that 1,000 Africans lost their lives in the establishment of the industry, because we cut down the trees, we cleared out the forests, we dug out the roads, and established a system that indentured laborers came afterwards and continued. But in Trinidad, many people don't even know that African people were ever on the sugar plantations.
No, because they're only telling about indentured laborers, given that
Exactly.
Trinidad is a different dynamic, because let's say most of the people in Trinidad is Indian.
No, that's not true at all.
I hear them say that. Even
Yeah,
in Trinidad, I hear them say that.
Yeah, but it's not true.
Okay.
You see, the reason, and that is a very important point as well, because within our family, we have all different colors and shades of the spectrum. Light-skinned Indians are called Indian. Dark-skinned Indians are called Indian. But dark-skinned Africans are called African. But light-skinned Africans are called mixed. And so the census
That's
now
like in
would
South
go into-
Africa. That's like in South Africa.
Yeah, where they use the term colored. But we are an African family whose genetic history goes back to the very beginning of human civilization, when God created man in his own image and likeness, which was an African man in the motherland who was the color of the soil. And so when we permit ourselves to be divided ideologically by this white supremacist rationale of the drop of black blood, where they say if you're half black, half white, you're mulatto. If you're 3/4 white, you're quadroon. If you're 7/8 white, you're octroon. And then going in the other direction, you're either Metsi, Courtesy, or Sambo. And they literally calculated our human worth by the perception of the percentage of black blood that was running through our genes. But we recognize that regardless of how dark or light we are as an African family, we are one African people. So the census report would say that there are 43% Indians, 42% Africans, and some 20% mixed. But out of that 20% mixed, at least 16 out of that 20% are light-skinned Africans.
Yeah, that's a serious thing. Actually, I said that to hear what you say about it still as a Trinidadian.
Yes.
And that's why you bring out that to the people there, you know. But
Yeah, we have those issues.
all right. The consciousness that prevail in the Caribbean now seem to be, I don't know if you can call it, there's a heightened interest from the top now, we're talking now. Because there was a time when, for instance, the idea of reparation
Yes.
is now something that is held on to from the top. First
Yes.
time it was just like grassroots. But now it has become something important to say or stand up for. Oh, you
Yeah.
see, you see that calculation of people from the top, you know, leading the charge for reparation.
Well, that is a very, very interesting issue. And I wouldn't say that they're so much leading the charge. They may appear to be, but the call for reparations, at least from my understanding, was a grassroots issue from day one. In Trinidad, 1 year before emancipation in 1833, you had the African Mandingos, who were a Muslim community, who proposed legislation to the British Parliament suggesting that if you are going to, quote-unquote, free us, we would like you to send us back to Africa. That was not reparations, but that was repatriation. And of course, the Rastafarian movement have also taken up the issue of repatriation, which after 2 or 3 generations passed that were not familiar with the continent itself, the repatriation movement became the reparations movement. And that was since the 1930s, 1940s. And of course, now we are happy that the 15 heads of CARICOM unanimously agreed to the 10-point plan of action.
That is what I was getting to. That now, from the top, you know, people on the top now is now leading the charge. Because we know it start from the grassroots, but I mean, like, it's like the ganja in Jamaica. You know, ganja, rasta business and foolishness, but now it's from the top, people going like to them, they really love ganja from a longer time, you know what I mean?
Yes, and I believe that is how it is with most struggles.
Yeah, so it's like the same thing with reparation. As I asked, you know, what is your point of view from the idea that these are the people them who a lot of them used to snap at reparation?
Well, eventually, you know, I don't want to be too hard on them. I know there was some among them, in particular, former Prime Minister of Antigua, Baldwin Spencer, and Prime Minister Ralph Gonzalez of St. Vincent, and even to some extent, Prime Minister Frondell Stewart of Barbados. Each of them have, in their individual causes, made reparations an issue. But I would also like for us to look at this in contrast to Black America and Black America's plea for reparations. Because remember, much of the consciousness that hit Black America originated in the Caribbean. I mean, the 3 men who started the Pan-Africanist movement, Henry Sylvester Williams, C.L.R. James, George Padmore, all 3, you know, from Trinidad. You had that most influential book, Black Skin, White Mask, and also Wretched of the Earth.
That's Frantz Fanon.
Yeah, Frantz Fanon, who was born in Martinique.
Martinique, yeah.
Yeah, you have How Europe Underdeveloped Africa by Walter Rodney, who was born in Guyana. One of the
and Ivan Van Sertima.
Ivan Van Sertima, born in Guyana. You have J.A. Rogers, who was born in Jamaica, right here. Yeah, of course, Garvey. The Honorable Marcus Garvey, who was like the father of Black nationalism. Kwame Ture,
Trinidadian Kwame Ture from Trinidad. I mean,
right. And even Dr. Eric Williams. Even Dr. Eric Williams, who in Capitalism and Slavery presented a rationale for reparations by identifying that it was the wealth generated by the African slave trade that fueled and financed the Industrial Revolution. So, you know, the Caribbean has in many ways led Black America. And of course, my own teacher, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, his father is from Jamaica and his mother is from St. Kitts.
St. Kitts,
So the and also Malcolm X, of course. Malcolm X's mother from Grenada, and the list goes on and on.
Yeah.
It goes on and on and on. So the first point is that the Caribbean has always had great influence in the global black struggle.
Yes.
The book Black Studies embellishes that fact because we have had many presentations about all of these great men without identifying their Caribbean roots. And I think that is great motivation for Caribbean people.
The youth them know too. The youth they must know that a lot of the struggle for liberation by black people started right in the Caribbean.
Yeah, and even the first real republic, the first black republic being Haiti.
Haiti.
Also a Caribbean nation.
Yeah.
But the reparations movement, I mean, I'm grateful to the politicians in the Caribbean for finally taking up the mantle.
Okay.
But in truth and in fact, I believe it's we the people who have to continue to put pressure.
I agree with you. And the same thing I think about the ganja too. I mean, I feel that, genuinely feel about it. All right.
Yeah, or else it will become a back burner issue for sure.
Will you be having a launch of the book here in Jamaica?
Yes, absolutely. On Friday.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, this Friday at the Ultimate Court Hotel, the Luxor Conference Room. That's on the second floor of the Ultimate Court Hotel at 6 o'clock.
This
6
Friday?
o'clock in the evening. Yes, that's this Friday.
You
November
must
27th.
try to figure out how you have to reach from which part I'm going to come down. I believe you me.
Yeah, we will be honored by your presence.
Yeah, man, I have to find out how you have to reach up there.
Yeah.
You write them kind of fine, though, Bridget.
Well, I'll tell you this. That book, like I said, one of the first reviews of the book Black Studies was that it should not be released as one book.
Okay.
Because in particular, Chapter 3, Chapter 7, and Chapter 10 are whole books by themselves, as well as Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. Chapter 2 on racism, the seven different kinds of racism.
This is like a Bible then?
Well,
I wouldn't use that term. When I say Bible, it's a compilation of many books in one.
Yes, it is. It's a number of books in one. And also, well, as you would have seen, it's 433 pages, but it's really about 700 pages worth of information that have been compressed into the 433 pages. Over 370 references. And it's a very compact
I see that
book.
There's a lady beside me here. She's in her 20s and she can't make out head or tail of what is in the book when I hold it up in front of her. And her eyes supposed to be much better than mine.
Oh,
it's a terrible thing that she can't make it out. But is there a way that you're going to have it not as a compilation but separate? As you said, the books are separate but compiled in this black study?
I will. Well, I mean, the next book that I'm going to release is my PhD thesis, which is on black youth at risk in the Caribbean. And it more or less extracts some of the information from Chapter 7 on black sociology. And
but there's no plan afoot to chapterize it in terms of this book is called Black Sociology, this next book is called, based upon the topics that is in here, or it's going to stay as a compilation of different works.
To be honest, I prefer it how it is. Because it's a complete. It was an attempt at a complete overview. There's hardly one great black scholar that we've had, from Dr. Yusuf Ben Yakin and Ivan Van Sertima, Dr. John Henrik Clark, Leonard Jeffries, J. Rogers. There's hardly one that we can think of whose philosophy or teaching has not been included in the book Black Studies.
The back of the book say a lot here, I see you mentioned even Tony Martin here.
Yes, of course.
And Marimba Annie,
Yes.
She was here.
In fact, she gave us one of the most valuable statements for all of us as a people to embrace. And that is, she said, you're not Africa, You're not African because you were born in Africa.
But you
are African because Africa was born in you.
Yes, yes.
You know, and it's in your genes and your DNA, because a lot of them try to throw that at us, to try to derail our identity and the unity that it produces among us as a people. So they say, well, you're not African.
Yes.
But the DNA is within us as African people.
All right, you know, we have to leave, and we want you to remind the people about its launch on Friday, Altamont Court.
So the launch is this Friday, which is November 27th, at the Altamont Court Hotel. That's level 2, the Luxor room. And they can also get more information on facebook.com/Black Agenda Project, youtube.com/Black Agenda Project, instagram.com/Black Agenda Project, and blackagendaproject.com itself as a website.
All right, when you leaving?
I'm actually leaving on Monday.
Oh God,
I'm gonna be.
I really love you.
I'm gonna be at
studio.
Sorry?
When you come back again, you coming at the studio with me?
Yes, I'd love to. I'd love to. I mean, I have a photograph of when you were at the studios of Power 102. I think it was about 9 years ago.
Yeah, when we was in Trinidad. Yes, definitely. Yeah. I remember that.
And I mean, the kind of responses that we got from that program were incredible.
Yeah.
You know.
That was a long interview.
yes, I remember very well. And of course, when Shashamani Sunrise hosted you as well in Woodbrook in Port of Spain.
That's Zaza.
Yeah.
All right.
And the brothers from Morgan Heritage.
Yes. All right, well, give thanks, brethren, you know, I mean...
Yeah, and well, just before I go, I want to thank, of course, my brothers from the Nation of Islam, in particular, Brother Fitzroy Muhammad and Brother Clive Muhammad, who's Minister Farrakhan's representative here in Jamaica. And I'm going to be there on Sunday at the Nation of Islam headquarters in Portmore. And, you know, those brothers are continuing to fight a great fight, and I want to thank them for their hospitality as well.
I want to thank you for this book. I mean, not personally, but for really doing the work and compile it in such a way that black people can really identify something in it that they're supposed to take responsibility for in this time.
Yes,
give thanks, Bridget. Give thanks.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Brother Mutabaruka.
Yeah, this is the Cutting Edge on RFM. We've been talking to David Muhammad. He's the Eastern Caribbean representative of the Honorable Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam. And he's the Black Agenda Project Director, author of the book Black Studies Anthology, academic book covering black history. And he's also a host on a radio station too. Yes, we have been on that radio station. And him hold a double major in sociology and education from UWI, currently in the PhD research at the University of the West Indies. So we give thanks. Black people come out of the shell now and is doing the necessary work so as to record our history, our philosophy, our ideology, our psychology, and understand our culture even on a deeper level, so that people like Tony can know that this thing is not just for study, but for really educate.
Bullet points. Hyacinth Bonnier's 1974 Manifesto on Race. 1. You are black. Not Negro, not nigger, not brown, not mixed, not you have some German on your mother's side from your great-grandfather, because no one can see that anyway. You are black. This is how you dance the calypso. 2. Be proud of being black. Of course your hair is woolly because you're black and it's beautiful. That's why it's in an afro. Don't let anyone cut your hair again as long as I'm not around. 3. Your father called. He said, happy birthday. 4. White people cannot be trusted. Be cordial, be polite, but white people must prove themselves before they can be trusted. 5. Don't ever bring a white woman to this house whom you would not bring if she were black. Example, if you wouldn't date a black waitress, don't parade a white one in here. 6. In fact, don't bring a white woman in this house. 7. Marilyn Monroe is not a loose woman. She has the right to make love to whomever she chooses. This is how you jump to calypso when you're crossing the Savannah stage. 8. Do not bring a white woman in this house. 9. Indira Gandhi is the most important black woman in the world. This is how you trip to Calypso late Tuesday evening when you're tired. 10. Indian people are black people too, it's just that most of them don't know it. 11. This book is by Linton Kwesi Johnson, read it. This book is by Sonia Sanchez, read it. This book is by Walter Rodney, read it. Stop running. This book is by Charles Dickens, read it. This book is by Enid Blyton, read it. This poem is by Kamau Braffett. Memorize it and return in an hour. 12. A is for Africa. Memorize it and return in an hour. 12. A is for Africa, B is for black, C is for culture, and that's where it's at. This is how you fed hard during last lap when you catch your second wind. 13. Your father called, he sent these things, he said Merry Christmas. This is how you get up Ash Wednesday morning and go to school, no matter how much rum you drink Carnival Tuesday. Your father called.
Yeah, that was Raja Bonnier out of Trinidad, the poet. Really, really serious poet from Trinidad, Raja Bonnier. Okay, so without further ado, make way carry you go to the classroom. Very important classroom. Here goes.
In the 17th century, a rough family of London cloth cutters called Beckford emigrated to the newly conquered colony of Jamaica to seek its fortune. The Beckfords invested in sugar and slaves.
Up, on your feet, on your feet. Up, come on your feet.
And within 4 generations became one of the richest families in England. They were the yuppies of their day, part of an emerging social class which aspired to become the new aristocracy. There was Beckford the planter, who wrote a unique handbook on how to run a sugar estate.
Out of every 4 African slaves, scarcely one produces a really efficient worker.
And Beckford the playboy, who used sugar profits to bring about a revival in Gothic architecture.
Some people drink to forget their unhappiness. I don't drink. I build.
But he'd be best remembered for his part in a notorious sexual scandal. He told his life story to a biographer to try to restore his reputation. While slavery flourished and sugar sales boomed, the Beckfords' world was an orgy of greed and extravagance. But the industry that made them was built on human suffering and greed and would eventually destroy them. This is the story of the rise and fall of Britain's richest slaving dynasty, the House of Beckford. In 1774, an English gentleman, William Beckford of Summerley, arrives in Jamaica with his wife to take over the family business.
Hurry up.
He's the 4th generation of Beckford planters.
My father owned the 3 plantations on the Cabarita River, and on his death they became mine. At the time they were managed by representatives.
Summerley inherits slaves, property, and 7,000 acres worth £120,000, more than $2 million at today's rates, near Jamaica's southern port of Savannah-la-Mar.
Jamaica is the best country in the world. Fortunes may be made there, without question. They may also be lost. But an adventurer, investor, a speculator of imagination may certainly lift his fortunes in Jamaica.
Summerley is new to the business of slavery, but keen to increase the profitability of his plantations. The largest of these is Roaring River.
Pick up those. Come on, he's here now.
Oh, journey's end. Now we can get out of this infernal heat.
Good afternoon, Master. Welcome in.
Thank you, Caesar.
Good afternoon.
Welcome, Master.
Hello. handsome addition. Thank you. Good afternoon. Water for Mrs. Beckford.
Little is known about Summerley's wife, Charlotte, except that she was his first cousin.
Home.
Unusually for an Englishwoman, she's willing to brave the dangers of the tropics until they can return home with an even bigger fortune. Summerley wastes no time heading out to the cane fields. The British have been in Jamaica since 1655, when they took the island from the Spanish. It's now a colony, providing Britain and her American possessions with sugar. By Summerley's time, there are 700 plantations on the island.
If the rain keeps away, we should have a very good crop.
For Summerley, African slave labour is the machinery of his plantation, ideally suited to the task.
The climate in the West Indies is oppressive. The humidity for a European produces indolence and diminishes health and ultimately the vigour of the mind. The Negro is constructed for exactly that climate. Their skin is thicker and able to withstand the heat.
Like all planters, Summerley sees slaves as mere workhorses rather than people.
The light shining off the naked skin of the Negroes is a magnificent sight. The blades rise and fall like the violins of a well-conducted orchestra.
A uniquely detailed inventory of his father's property shows that Summerley inherits 910 slaves worth £36,000. The Roaring River plantation alone has 84 men, 92 women, 80 children and 3 runaways. We know their names, their jobs and the amount that they are worth. Each one is given the Beckford name as a sign of ownership, and it's still a common surname in Jamaica today.
Moving too slow. Moving too slow, man. Hurry up.
The use of forced slave labour demands a harsh control system. Summerley employs a white overseer who manages 4 black drivers, privileged slaves who harass the field hands.
Hurry up. Hurry up.
Brutality and fear are the instruments of the regime.
Tell the drivers no more rest days till the harvest is in.
Yes, sir.
While Summerley is on the ground making money, his cousin, William Beckford of Font Hill, is in England spending it as the new head of the Beckford dynasty.
On the 29th of September 1781, William Beckford of Font Hill finally came of age.
On his 21st birthday, he becomes the owner of 22 Jamaican plantations, bought or ruthlessly acquired by his ancestors.
The property and wealth which he inherited was almost £1 million, with a further £100,000 a year in income.
This enormous fortune leads the poet Byron to describe him as England's wealthiest son. William's coming of age is a moment of great relief for his ambitious mother, Maria. She's fought off rival claims to her only son's fortune since the death of his father when he was 9.
My father increased the family wealth in Jamaica and then came back to London, where he became Lord Mayor of London twice. Actually, he made quite a name for himself. People used to call him the Great Beckford.
Maria appoints a trusted family friend, lawyer Thomas Wildman, to manage William's affairs. Between them, mother and lawyer will attempt the challenging job of guiding and controlling this frivolous young man.
was never good for anything in this life, but composing airs, building towers, and forming gardens.
Now wealthy and respectable, the Beckfords brush under the carpet their family's dark history in the Caribbean.
The island of Jamaica was the rendezvous for the most lawless and profligate adventurers who ever roamed the earth.
The Beckford clan arrived in 1660 and set about making money.
The Beckford ancestors were certainly colourful. The great-grandfather, Peter Beckford, was ruthless, unscrupulous, and violent. The Beckford grandfather, another Peter Beckford, a Speaker of the Jamaica Assembly, shamefully murdered in cold blood the Deputy Judge Advocate. Despite his violence, he died in his own bed, reputed to be one of the richest subjects in Europe. When his strongbox was opened, the greater part of £1 million was discovered, hoarded up.
The largest share of the family's huge fortune has come to Beckford of Fonthill. He lavishes his extraordinary wealth on treasures, books, paintings and ceramics.
Happy are those with plenty of money. Their kingdom is come, their will is done, upon earth, if not in heaven.
Beckford buys beautiful objects to distance himself from the origin of his wealth, with its unsavory whiff of commerce and slavery.
Art is something that you have to feel inwardly, you have to feel it inside. It's not something that you can just admire. Mere admiration will not do. People pretend to be struck by an object of art, but that's only because people around them are being struck by the same thing.
Fonthill's expensive tastes challenge the patience of his lawyer, Thomas Wildman, who sets his monthly allowance according to sugar profits.
He sets too much value on the things that money can buy. The enjoyment of gildery and painting is momentary.
Well, what use is money if you can't spend it? How Wildman could seriously think that I would leave a single farthing of my allowance undrawn, I have no idea.
Wildman's job is to run the Beckford sugar business and fight off ancient claims to his estates. Fonthill also trusts Wildman to protect him from fraudsters.
The whole world believes that Mr. Beckford is groaning under so heavy a burden of riches that anyone who can take part of that weight from his shoulders is doing him an essential service.
While Fonthill glosses over the source of his wealth, Summerlee is at the sharp end of the business, driving the pace of sugar production. Sugarcane is the first agricultural product in the world to go through an industrial process before going to market. The word factory is first used in English to describe the Jamaica boiling houses. During harvesting, slaves work a shift system.
This is the actual factory, which is working day and night at the moment during the harvest, because if we leave the cane to stand for any time, the sugar begins to spoil and is less productive.
John, bring a piece of cane.
Snap that off. Taste that.
Very good.
A tour of the factory is popular with visitors to the island.
Oh, man.
We set off down to the sugar works and examined the whole of the sugar making process, which is very curious and entertaining. I asked the overseer how long the workers worked at their particular jobs before he relieved them.
12 hours, every 12 hours.
How terrible. But sometimes they fell asleep, and if they fell asleep, their hand would get caught in the millstone.
Well, if a slave's hand were to get caught in the crusher, we have to use the axe to extract it.
We can't afford to stop the mill. It has to keep going every hour of the day.
I would say I would never want to have a sugar estate.
Sugar is, I think, unique in that every inch of the plant is used. trash, the tops of the canes and the leaves, are used to fuel the distillation process and the clarification process, and therefore it's self-contained. It also provides food for the labor and fuel for domestic cooking and a building material.
This is where the juice is transferred directly from the press into the clarification vat. And the solids taken off the top, the sediment taken off the bottom, and the syrup reduced in successively smaller coppers until it starts to granulate, and then we can transfer that into hogsheads to cool and transport to market.
Work in the boiling house is hot, dangerous, and highly skilled.
Can we move away from the heat? The slaves are allowed to sample the syrup while it's hot. Once we start to drink.
Water, bring the water. Get this man to the hospital. You, take his place, take his place. Back to work, everybody, back to work. Back to work.
Each year, Summerley's plantations produce approximately 450 hogshead barrels of sugar and more than 200 large containers of the sugar byproduct, rum. He's one of hundreds of producers from across the Caribbean whose profits are fueling Britain's new imperial economy. The quantities of sugar pouring into Britain transform a once luxury item into a staple food. Even the poorest can afford a spoonful of sugar from Jamaica for their tea from China. The British love affair with puddings, biscuits and cakes dates from these boom years. Sugar is creating a new diet and new millionaires. Far from the sweat of his many Jamaican plantations, William Beckford of Fonthill spends lavishly on his artistic passions: music, architecture, writing, and all things Oriental. And Fonthill has talent. He makes the first English translation of the Arabian Nights fables and writes a Gothic novel about a sultan called Vathek.
Vathek's pride arrived at its height when, having ascended for the first time the 1,500 stairs to his tower, he cast his eyes below and beheld men not larger than ants, mountains than shells, and cities than beehives.
Like the author, Vathek is a slave owner who enjoys the power of money. In the story, Vathek builds a great tower, an image that will obsess Fonthill throughout his life.
Assist him to complete the tower, which in imitation of Nimrod he hath begun, not like that great warrior to escape being drowned, but from the insolent curiosity of penetrating the secrets of heaven.
There was one subject upon which everyone was agreed, and that was that Beckford was in danger of turning into his own creation, Vathek, a half-human, half-demon sort of creature.
Vathek becomes so admired by Byron that he calls it his gospel. In fact, Fonthill has the right education and the right contacts. The late Prime Minister Pitt the Elder was his godfather, and the Chancellor Lord Thurlow is his mentor. He even claims to have had music lessons from Mozart.
When I was about 5, Mozart was my piano teacher for a while. He was over in London on a visit. He was about 8, but already an international figure. In fact, I wrote something that he liked so much that he used it for the Marriage of Figaro. Da-da-da, 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 etc., etc., etc.
it's the marriage of Fonthill that interests his mother. She selects a bride for him, the very suitable Lady Margaret Gordon.
Margaret was slender and delicate, and she had the most beautiful, white, smooth arms, and her cheeks used to blush the colour of a rose. She was a charming creature, artless, uncomplicated, and absolutely no pretensions to intellect whatsoever.
The marriage, though, doesn't end an existing attachment. Fonthill's grand passion is for a 16-year-old schoolboy, William Courtney, heir to Powderham Castle in Devon.
I think of all the creatures with which I've been acquainted, male or female, Courtney was the one who I felt had been created in my mould.
In an era when sodomy is a hanging offence, Fonthill's obsession threatens the future of the Beckford dynasty. In Jamaica, his cousin Summerlee is trying to increase the Beckford profits by investing in new slaves. He believes the flow of fresh slaves from Africa is essential for the survival of the sugar business.
If the African trade were stopped, the labour necessary to produce sugar would fall to those slaves who are already domesticated in Jamaica, who must therefore absorb an ever greater quantity of work, and their lives be shortened.
During the 18th century, 820,000 West African men, women and children are transported to an early death in Jamaica. Thousands more die at sea.
Fine cargo?
Yes, good luck.
Slaves are a planter's most expensive outlay. They cost anything from £5 to £100 each, depending on age, gender, health and skills, and the rise and fall of sugar prices.
No smallpox? No, not in this lot. Good.
They are traded at auctions or scrambles.
Up, on your feet, on your feet. Up, come on your feet.
A scramble is a brutal free-for-all in which the planters literally fight for those they want to buy.
The Negroes from the more popular African countries are soon snapped up no matter what the expense. The more indifferent ones may only be sold by offering credit or reducing the price. They're the ones who are most likely to fall sick, even though when they left their homeland they were most probably healthy and strong.
The indifferent ones are called refuse slaves. They are often abandoned in the streets to die. Summerlee names his new acquisitions. New slaves have to be broken in or seasoned into a life of slavery.
Seasoning a new slave takes the best part of 4 or 5 months, and out of every 4 African slaves, scarcely one produces a really efficient worker.
Slaves arriving from Africa must first be managed as if they were animals. They must be tamed before they can be treated as men.
Almost a third of seasoned slaves die within the first 3 years, most from disease, overwork, or simply depression.
The best slaves are the ones we breed on the plantations. They are born into the state of slavery and don't complain.
Something in my heart, like a stream running down, makes me feel so.
In his plantation handbook, Summerlee details his slaves' daily routine, comparing it favorably to the plight of English peasants.
The sufferings of the slaves are usually exaggerated by those who are not acquainted at first hand with the life in Jamaica. Outside harvest time, they rarely worked in the field after sunset, which was never after 7. So from then until 6 the next morning, and every Sunday, their time was at their absolute command.
Something in my heart, like a
Self-sufficiency is encouraged, particularly when America's war for independence from Britain creates food blockades. The slaves have to grow their own food, and many go hungry.
Something in my heart like a stream.
With my shawl.
By contrast, planters live an extravagant lifestyle, paid for by credit. They've got into the reckless habit of consuming profits from crops not yet harvested.
White society in Jamaica is much too addicted to expensive living, costly entertainments, rich clothes. If only they were more abstemious and paid more attention to the productivity of their plantations, many more of them might have amassed considerable fortunes.
I would imagine.
For visitors, the excess of Jamaica can be overwhelming.
Such eating and drinking I have never seen. There was loads of food, all sorts of meats, highly seasoned, jellies, gallons of wine, hot and cold chicken, fish, stews, fries. It was quite disgusting.
The white community sticks together for companionship and security, with owners and employees dining at the same table. The whites number only 20,000, surrounded on an island by 200,000 slaves.
There's nothing like it.
They feel particularly unsettled by the campaign against slavery, which is finding support in England.
These so-called philanthropists across the seas are blind to the true interests of their own country. There are plenty of people in England in need of the pity and the protection they're so anxious to give the Africans.
I once interviewed a slave and asked him, would he like to be returned to his home country? You know what he said? He said that in Jamaica, he has food, clothing, and a good house. But in Africa, he'd be destitute.
Many of the Europeans, the peasantry is destitute, although free. I simply hope that some of the compassion that is felt for the slave is also felt for the planter. We lose so many slaves through natural disasters, torrents, trees falling, not to mention sickness. The loss of them would be the ruin of us all.
Well, it's very easy to criticize, but they still eat the sugar and they still drink the rum.
Thomas Thistlewood is the overseer of a neighbouring plantation. Jamaica has raised him from poverty in England to a position of almost unchecked power.
Good wage, yeah?
£200. Yes?
Like many planters, Thistlewood is sexually predatory.
To your private stock. Pays for the expension.
White men live immorally with their female slaves. And until they improve their own morality, there is no chance of us teaching the Negroes decency and religion.
Where do we find all these we can?
Whites of the Caribbean are subject to the same frailties as the rest of mankind. But they do have a natural interest in the other sex, which means that they are not always faithful husbands.
Cushioned by his money and feeling above the judgment of the rest of the world, William Beckford of Fonthill indulges his dangerous obsession with the 16-year-old William Courtney.
When we first began to know each other, I had a strange feeling that somehow we'd known each other as friends in a previous existence.
He has little idea of the high price he'll pay for his affair. While Courtney is away at school, Fonthill dabbles in politics, taking up his family's Rotten Borough parliamentary seat. But he soon tires of the House of Commons.
William Beckford wasn't cut out to be an actor in the great drama of politics. His abilities were unquestionable, but his mind was too expanded for the niggling details and double dealings of a political life.
Instead, he sets his heart on a peerage and the title Lord Beckford of Fonthill.
Sure will receive every attention.
It will seal the family's rise from tradesmen to aristocrats. To the powerful influence of Chancellor Thurlow, it should be a formality. So the Royal College of Arms draws up a design.
Young Beckford had a great interest in books of heraldry. His father's political fame didn't satisfy him, so he set out to find his ancestral honours on one side or the other, up to John of Gaunt. He was full of imagination.
But while waiting for his peerage, Fonthill makes the mistake of writing letters, confiding his feelings for Courtney.
Does he still really love me? Are the delightful days of Fonthill not yet elapsed from his memory? Does he still dwell with pleasure on the recollection of what passed in our subterranean apartment?
And the letters fall into the wrong hands.
Does he still dwell with pleasure on the recollection of what passed in our subterranean apartment?
Lord Loughborough has just married into the Courtney family and has developed a loathing for Fonthill.
On silken beds, in the glow of transparent curtains.
The very suggestion of guilt is enough to ruin Beckford in the eyes of polite society.
I'd rather my son went up to London, paraded around with half a dozen Covent Garden whores. That would have done more than anything else to remove suspicion.
If the case ever comes to court, Fonthill could hang.
Beckford's conduct was heedless, not to say childish. But his enemies are powerful. And he is, I believe, not barbarously treated by an ill-judging world.
Fonthill blames Courtney for his predicament, and the spell is broken.
A certain young person whom I once thought to have been my dearest friend, but proved himself the meanest traitor and blackest enemy. You may guess who pulled the strings.
You're in very good health.
Fonthill feels compelled to take his wife Margaret and baby daughter into exile on the continent. There's talk of Jamaica, but his wife is pregnant again and it's considered too dangerous. Disease-ridden Jamaica is notorious for its high infant mortality, but among the slaves the risks are even higher. With their heavy workloads and meagre diets, 1 in 3 slave women miscarry or lose their babies. Although planters have an interest in keeping their slaves healthy, their prejudices get in the way.
Their women are delivered of children with little or no labour, and they have no more need of midwives than a female orangutan or any other wild animal.
Miles away, Fonthill gains a second daughter, but loses a wife. Margaret dies in childbirth. Fonthill's mother comes to visit him in exile in Europe and take his children into her care. She will protect them from their father's disgrace and mould the next generation of Beckfords.
You do realise this is for the best? Nurse, take Margaret's hand.
He's left alone with his regrets and the blame of society.
An oracle might have said with truth, he will be rich and wealthy, the affectionate husband of the best of wives, the father of 2 lovely infants, and yet an exile from his country, shunned by his countrymen.
A brief, unhappy visit to England convinces Fonthill that it's too soon to return home. He is persuaded to sail for Jamaica.
The more I hear of Jamaica, the more I dread the climate, which I fully expect will wither my health
But Fonthill never reaches his sugar plantations because he jumps ship in Portugal. Seeing this, his business advisor, Thomas Wildman, is about to seize his chance.
It is said that this trade in sugar has a powerful effect on a man's ethics and principles. I would go so far as to say that it changes a man entirely.
Tempted by the financial opportunities of Jamaica, Wildman sizes up one of his employer's land holdings known as Quebec.
It was reported back to me from Jamaica that Beckford owned a fine run of virgin land at Quebec, which could be settled into a good sugar works at very little expense. I asked Mr. Beckford if he would like to give me the land at Quebec. Of course, I described it somewhat differently. My dear William, there is a piece of wasteland in the corner of the island. Yes, that's it. So he very generously presented me with 1,200 acres and £5,000 to develop it.
Wildman appoints his younger brother James to get the land cleared to grow sugarcane. Within months, they've poached 823 of Fonthill's slaves, leaving the Beckford plantations neglected.
Well, how was he ever going to find out? Quebec made us a considerable sum.
Jamaica is infested with creditors and agents who work for their own profit and not for that of the planters. They'll lend him money and wish him well for a while, but they then commit every species of fraud and extortion. These men are no better than a flock of vultures.
While absentee landowners risk being cheated, planters on the ground have their own problems. Each year, slaves attempt to run away, losing them productivity and spreading discontent. Some disappear for only a few days to see family. Others head for the mountains to join groups of rebels.
Stop! Don't move! Stay right there. You thought you could run from us. Secure those chains on them.
Most runaways are captured or return. Either way, they're given harsh punishments to deter others. Sometimes the overseers add a sadistic twist of their own. Lime juice, for example, sharpens the sting of the whip. And although the legal limit is 39 strokes, 200 or even 300 lashes are not uncommon on remote plantations.
The Negroes are not burdened with the experience of anticipation, so the punishment when it comes is unexpected and sudden. The sorrow fades with the pain.
The planters of the island of Jamaica have been unjustly accused of treating their Negroes with cruelty. But the truth is that these men inherited their slaves in much the same way as a man in England might inherit the lands and estates of his ancestors. In fact, there is no man in England who possesses more charity and clemency than the planter. So if there are instances of cruelty, they must happen without his knowledge.
Whipping, mutilation, even execution are seen as acceptable penalties.
Hurry up! Master wants 100 pounds by noon!
However hard the slaves are worked to produce sugar, yields gradually fall on older estates as the soil becomes exhausted. and Jamaica faces growing competition from other Caribbean sugar producers like Cuba and Haiti. Summerlee finds that his profits are dropping while his costs are going up. A newly independent America no longer exports them cheap food and timber.
There's a complicated system of debt and credit in the island. In fact, a man may not consider himself to be distinguished in Jamaica unless he's in debt.
Summerlee extends his credit with his merchant, putting up his estates as collateral.
Some planters, who find themselves unable to settle their overextended accounts, are almost reduced to being slaves.
The merchant charges commission at 0.5%. 2.5% is added to all the produce he sells, and 2.5% is taken from sales and invoices. He also charges interest at 0.5% on what he loans, and the interest is added to the capital every year, making it bigger, with the result that the sugar is sold at a loss even before it arrives in England. Better by far for the planter to borrow from anyone, even at 6%, than from his merchant at 5%. Because once he becomes indebted to him, he becomes dependent. Possibly for life.
Summerlee is now relying on a successful crop to reduce his debts. After years shifting restlessly across Europe, William Beckford comes home to Fonthill. He remains ostracized by polite society and responds by building a 7-mile wall around his Wiltshire estate to shut out his enemies.
How's it progressing here?
Fairly well, sir.
Yes. I have been hunted down and persecuted. So I retreated into the center of my gloomy circle like a spider into the midst of its web.
Alone, Fonthill decides to emulate his fictional Sultan Vathek and build a pleasure tower. But it's destined to become something much greater.
Yes, here is the position.
Yes. Very attractive position.
Fashionable royal architect James Wyatt is chosen to draw up the design.
Shrubbery drawing one's eye.
We are here, looking up the valley.
Yes, we are here. The building shall be there.
Fonthill turns his back on the classical style of the day in favour of the dramatic detail of medieval religious architecture, known as Gothic.
And from those Gothic windows, one will be able to look straight down the valley at the lake.
He's inspired by his memories of the magnificent monastery of Batala in Portugal and his brief flirtation with Catholicism. With each discussion, the design grows in ambition.
I had wanted it to be the most spectacular house in England.
Soon the building takes on the shape of a cross with a nave, transept and stained glass windows.
There is the magnificent oriel window of painted glass. There is the spiraling staircase up to the observation chamber.
The centerpiece was the tower from where you could look down upon the world.
Yeah, you can see it more clearly.
Finally, it finds form as a great abbey in which Fonthill plans to live.
I'd wanted its scale, its moody romanticism, to instill a sense of religious awe in the beholder.
Evergreens.
Fonthill Abbey is destined to become one of the most influential buildings of its day.
Perhaps to be raised as well around.
A forerunner of the 19th century Gothic revival, paid for by slave profits.
Glorious.
Fonthill bribes workmen restoring Windsor Castle to come and build the abbey. Work goes on round the clock, just as in his sugar factories.
There were never less than 100 workmen or superintendents at the abbey, sometimes 200, and on one occasion 500.
The abbey under construction at night was truly stupendous. There must have been hundreds of workers, some of whom were holding torches, swaying in the darkness, casting shadows high up on the tower and down below into the gulf of darkness. And then you'd hear their voices reverberating in the still of night. They were like voices from hell itself.
Fonthill's impatience pressures Wyatt to take shortcuts, the building rises swiftly above foundations that are insufficient for the final design. The revolutionary cement render washes off in the rain, and Wyatt is distracted by other projects at Salisbury Cathedral and Wilton House.
I have had nothing for 3 weeks. It's impossible to finish anything.
To finance the abbey, Fonthill begins selling off some assets. At the same time, his ancestors' sharp practices in Jamaica come back to haunt him.
He became the victim of a series of lawsuits. In 1 year alone, they cost him £40,000. Despite this, he continued to build and furnish the abbey, buying paintings by Raphael,
Poussin, Rembrandt, Dürer,
Holbein, Rubens,
Canaletto, and of course Leonardo.
The more Fonthill overstretches himself, the more desperately he builds. Like the planters trying to shore up slavery, Fonthill shores up his monstrous tower. When funds are tight, he turns to Thomas Wildman for help.
Beckford was so concerned with building the abbey at the greatest possible speed that he paid little or no attention to his own finances. He borrowed from me continuously and so never noticed that I lent him his own money and charged him the interest.
And there's more bad news for the Beckfords.
We have hurricane in the West Indies, which can ruin a crop very quickly, and in doing so ruin a planter.
For several seasons, the island is hit by terrible storms, the last thing Summerlee needs.
The wind from the south was as if all the winds of the world were blowing through a single tube. The devastation we experienced was incomparable.
The hurricane sweeps away slave huts. Flattens crops and tosses ships onto the land. Without a crop, Summerlee cannot keep up his interest payments and will lose everything. As the slaves bury their dead, he mourns his own dreams of prosperity.
The wind has swept relentlessly through the plantation. And a single blast reduced me to ruin.
The scale of the disaster reverberates throughout Britain. Even Fonthill, with his superior wealth, has to take notice. The abbey is hemorrhaging money, and his income is plummeting.
My sugar affairs grow worse every day, and I have to use much caution not to become a total bankrupt. This is killing me. To lose my properties with no benefit. I receive no income now from Jamaica at all, and I have 1,000 debts to pay.
Fonthill sinks further into Wildman's power.
Beckford was heavily in my debt, to the tune of £86,000. In return, I insisted on the use of his parliamentary seat, or said I would foreclose on his mortgages and plantations, and reduce or even stop his monthly allowance. So, that's how I became MP for Hindon.
The sugar bubble has burst, leaving Jamaica reeling. Until it recovers, the only winners are the creditors.
In 13 years in Jamaica, I never knew a property to be redeemed once it had fallen into the possession of the mortgage company, even if the property was large, and the debt trifling.
Summerlee returns to England, leaving a trail of debt. He brings with him rumours about the Wildman's dubious activities.
I suspect that we're closely watched. Once, when my brother James came over to England on business, he dined at a house where Beckford's cousin, Summerlee, was staying. James was alarmed to hear Summerlee repeating rumours he'd heard in Jamaica, claiming that if James continued as manager, our family would soon own all of Beckford's property. It may not be so far from the truth.
Unable to pay his debts, Summerlee is arrested and detained in prison where he'll spend 4 years.
Having left a country in which slavery is established by law, I come to one in which one may be imprisoned, unheard and untried. I find that a man, although born to freedom, may become a slave.
He appeals to his cousin, Fonthill.
One year, Beckford received a letter from his cousin Summerlee from the Fleet prison in London. It told how he had been unjustly imprisoned for some trivial debt. For the sake of family honour, Beckford sent him £500 to settle with his most impatient creditors.
It's while in prison that Summerlee writes an account of his years as a plantation owner, earning himself the nickname of the planter historian. Fonthill, too, is enslaved by debts, but it's only after the sudden death of Thomas Wildman that he finds out how serious his situation is.
Between this harpy and his 2 brothers, half my substance has been devoured.
Fonthill is forced to give the Wildman family all but 2 of his remaining estates.
I've known Thomas Wildman since I was a child, and I've always felt a strong sense of gratitude towards him for the fatherly affection that he showed towards me, and the brilliant way in which he dealt with my affairs. So you can imagine how betrayed I feel.
In desperation, Fonthill sells off many of his other assets so that he can finish the abbey once and for all.
Oh, I am beginning to curse this abbey. After a month, I hope to be free from this cancer. It's destroying me.
Finally, in 1822, Fonthill Abbey is complete. Britain's first major Gothic building since the Reformation dominates the Wiltshire landscape. Despite the public excitement it generates, no one dares to visit its scandalous owner, and few are invited. Fonthill rattles around his drafty mausoleum, attended by a few staff and a dwarf called Piero. One rare visitor is Sir Richard Hoare from the neighbouring estate at Stour Head. He's given permission to describe the abbey for his history of Wiltshire, but he calls when he thinks the controversial owner is away. His guide is Piero, who's employed to make the abbey look even bigger. Sir Richard, though, pays for his day at Fonthill. He's castigated by society for talking to such a man. In keeping with the times, it's Fonthill's homosexuality, not his ownership of slaves, that causes offence, even years after the scandal.
Oh, I don't give a farthing about the buzz of gossip. The slander in the world's newspapers? Well, it amuses me rather than alarms me. And I toss libelous letters from unknown correspondents into the fire, unopened.
Fonthill has other worries these days. After 18 years' work on the abbey, he must sell it to avoid bankruptcy. The rule of the Sultan of Fonthill is at an end. The Beckfords rose from nowhere and made a fortune on the back of their slaves. But their notorious story came to an end, and the dynasty burned out in spectacular style. All that was left was the abbey. But this monument to human suffering and Beckford pride was built on unsupportable foundations. Just 3 years after it was sold, the tower came crashing down.
The tower falling was an unfortunate accident, but it purged me of Fonthill Abbey. I had been living with a sword of Damocles over my head. And I'm philosophical enough not to cry over something which was, after all, just a plaything.
Fonthill's plaything cost £20 million at today's prices. It's been estimated that £20 million at today's prices. It's been estimated that more than 3,000 slaves were worked to death to pay for its construction.
Yeah, this is the Cutting Edge, and I refer we just listen to a documentary called Beckfords, Slavery in Jamaica. The rise and fall of the Beckfords is a very interesting story. You know, I mean, a very, very interesting story. And you have many more stories like that coming out of Jamaica. But as we say, we are very glad that the English is recorded their history, that what they did outside of England. You understand? Very important. See, so people write their own story. We must be able to write our own story. Okay. This is the Cutting Edge, IRFM. Here we go.
Me come to tell a message and me want to know for listen. Every other day another truth you gonna prison. And every single day another life missing. Man a molest baby before the baby even christen. Shine the nine, make it listen that the youths them a say. We future look dark, we future look grey. Gunshot the back, day after day go on the knees and pray because the worst is yet to come. Talk for your rights and stop act like you dumb. We have to find a way to emerge from the slum. It well painful, but me still talk the truth. Most crimes are committed by teenage youth. Enough girls want money, so go turn prostitute. And it no pretty, it no cute. No, it no pretty, it no cute. But living can be good, living can be bad, living can make you happy and living can make you sad, living can make you sane, living can make you mad, but it all depends on which road you tread. Living can be good, living can be bad, living can make you happy and living can make you sad, living can make you sane, living can make you mad, but it all depends on which road you trod. Jamaica stay so now. Then what go happen tomorrow? I just be a grief, full up a be a sorrow. Man, I take it for hobby, for lick another man marrow. People try the best out of life, even though the chance is narrow. And if this is a lie, feel free to tell me. The world we're living in is full of greed, hate, and envy. Jah is the only person I see that can help me, yo. Better believe it. Me sending a message and me want to know receive it. You see the badness, me I beg you that you leave it. But living can be good, living can be bad, living can make you happy and living can make you sad, living can make you sane, living can make you mad, but it all depends on which road you tread. Living can be good, living can be bad, living can make you happy and living can make you sad, living can make you sane, living can make you mad, but it all depends on which road you trod. Hold on. Just because me poor, me hungry more and more, me cry to the MP, him gone pan tour. Hungry I bite till my belly sore. Me tired of it, me can't take it no more. Me can't take it no more. But even though times hard, come we set things straight. No lose hope, just go and keep the faith. Quash the war and extinguish the hate. Them things that make our country now elevate. Don't allow politics for make we separate. But living can be good, living can be bad, living can make you happy and living can make you sad, living can make you sane, living can make you mad, but it all depends on which road you trod. Living can be good, living can be bad. Living can make you happy and living can make you sad. Living can make you sane, living can make you mad. But it all depends on which road they trod. But it all depends on which road they trod. But it all depends on which road they trod. But it all depends on which road you trod.
Thought-provoking, always smoking, lyrics like a bazooka. You are listening to Mutabaruka. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
insanity. Patrol
controlled by Captain America's Boogaloo Incorporated in integrated suicidal settings. Africa is burning, and the black man is doing the freak. My brothers and sisters dressed up in cultural attire, not realizing that it's more to being black than just talking about it. Africa is burning, and the black man is doing the freak. Tied jeans and Elton John sunglasses, hair cotton sneakers and a bag of smoke. Africa is burning, and the black man is doing the freak. Save the babies, rescue the children. Save the babies, rescue the children. Save the babies, rescue the children. Save the babies.
RFM, #1 reggae station in the whole wide world. Me not joke. Radio.
You are listening to Mutabaruka.
But I just can't get no love. I'm praying for a girl to be my own. She said she called me, but I don't believe a word she said. 'Cause she ran away and left on me one rainy day. She made me help in mine that your love would never die. So alone, yeah. Money in my pocket, but I just can't get no love. Money in my pocket, but I just can't get no love. Money in my pocket, but I just can't get no love. Money in my pocket, but I just can't get no love. The love I had in mind was a very, very hard to find. It's hard for a man to live without a woman, yeah. And a woman needs a man to cling to. You see what love can do after making me feel blue. Ain't that a shame? Oh, baby, ain't that a shame to make me feel blue? Money in my pocket, but I just can't get no love. Money in my pocket, but I just can't get no love. Money in my pocket, but I just can't get no love.
You are listening to Mutabaruka.
Money in my pocket, but I just can't get no love.
Yeah, man.
I got money in my pocket.
Yeah, man, money in my pocket. I don't know what kind of love. You know, so when Dennis Brown sing it always, I wonder what kind of love him I look for when him say money in my pocket and him can't get no love. Listen to the words of this song, yeah. Listen to the words.
told me. 'Cause she said she learned the hard way. Said she wanna spare the children. She say don't give us your soul away, 'cause all that you have is your soul. So don't be tempted by the shiny apple. Don't you eat of a bitter fruit. Hunger only for a taste of justice. Hunger only for a world of truth. 'Cause all that you have is your soul. I was a pretty young girl once. I had dreams, I had high hopes. Married a man who stole my heart away. Gave his love, but what a high price to pay. And all that you have is your soul. Don't be tempted by the shiny apple. Don't you eat of a bitter fruit. Hunger only for a taste of justice. Hunger only for a world of truth. 'Cause all that you have is your soul. Why was I such a young fool? Thought I'd make history, making babies was the best I could do. Thought I made something could be mine forever. Found out the hard way, one can't possess another. And all that you have is your soul. Don't be tempted by the shiny apple. Don't you eat of a bitter fruit. Hunger only for a taste of justice. Hunger only for a world of truth. 'Cause all that you have is your soul. I thought I could find a way. Be the system, make a deal and have no debts to pay. Take it all, I take it all, had to run away. Leave myself, first class and first rate. All that you have is your soul.
You are listening to Mutabaruka.
Don't be tempted by the shiny apple. Don't you eat of a bitter fruit. Hunger only for a taste of justice. Hunger only for a world of truth. 'Cause all that you have is your soul.
All that you have is your soul. Cutting.
Here I am, I'm waiting for a better day. Second chance, a little luck to come my way. Hope to dream, hope that I can sleep again. Wake in a world with a clear conscience and clean hands. It's all that you have is your soul.
All that you have is your soul, yes. Cutting edge.
Yes, Muta.
Blessed man.
Yeah, man. I said life can make you happy, life can make you sad. And so I depend on the road you trod. Me hear it, me listen the poem. I remember I read one time. I tried to write it down. The book and write it down. It said.
Listen, man. Wait, start again. I never hear the first part.
I said, one evening, a very wise old Indian chief was speaking with his grandson about life, telling him about the internal battle that goes on inside all people. He said, my son, inside all of us, there exists a constant battle between two wolves. One wolf is very evil. It forces you to deal with anger, envy, jealousy, sorrow, regret, greed, arrogance, self-pity, guilt, resentment, inferiority, lies, false pride, superiority, and a self-centered, destructive ego. The other wolf is good. It helps you to experience joy, peace, love, hope, serenity, humility, kindness, benevolence, empathy, generosity, truth, compassion, faith, self-respect, and to develop a giving, constructive ego. Grandson thought about it and then asked his grandfather, So which wolf wins? And the wise old Indian chief replied, my son, it. So, at the road where you
I never hear it, The wise old Indian answer, so my son, what?
Him said, the one you feed, the one you feed.
The one where you feed, it win. Okay, all right, yeah, man.
So, at the road where you trod.
Yes, definitely. Definitely.
And me understand.
All that you have is your one.
Yes, man.
Give thanks, brethren.
Yes, man, and keep up the good work.
All right. All I do out of Brazil with Jimmy Cliff. Bob Marley music.
So make this connection here from way back from the root of civilization. Yeah?
No woman no cry. No woman no cry. No woman no cry. No woman no cry. 'Cause I remember when we used to sit in a government yard in Boston, observing those hypocrites mingle with the good people we met. Good friends we knew, or good friends we have lost along the way. In this great future, we can't forget the past. So dry your tears, I say.
Yeah, we'll come back to this one now. We'll come back to that one, Jimmy Cliff with all that dome out of Brazil, yes. Yeah. Who were wrong with the phone there? Make I try this one. El.
Hey, Muta.
Hi.
Hi, Muta. This is Miss Montana here. How are you?
I am okay. Long time.
Yes. I wanted to ask you a question because I was just listening to the show and you were playing that thing about the Beckfords. I think you played it before.
Yes. Yeah.
And you were mentioning about the lynching, if somebody saw someone's underwear on the line,
Yes. Yeah.
So my question to you is again, if you don't subscribe, and I'm not saying you, but if a person doesn't subscribe to the three major religions, Judaism, Christianity and Islam, who teach that, there's going to be retribution for that kind of thing in the afterlife, how do you make yourself at peace thinking that, well, there's not going to be any payback? That's my question to you.
The payback?
Well, people suffer from atrocities. People get murdered.
Yes. And you feel that the person...
they console themselves with religion because religion says, okay, this person's going to get paid back for what happened to them.
Yes.
There's going to be, some sort of reward. So if you don't subscribe to that mindset or worldview, how do you, as an individual, reconcile yourself and be at peace knowing that that's happened and, that's it? Do you follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand. All right, I can say if I get what you're saying clearly. You're saying that if somebody does somebody wrong,
yes,
the person who the wrong was done,
the victim.
Yeah, the person who the wrong was done to.
Yes.
How do you console yourself if the person who did the wrong to you, nothing happened to them?
Yes, there's no retribution, there's no reparation, there's no payback, meaning that they don't, like the Eastern religion.
Yeah, like a man, I believe in the karma thing still,
But do you believe in the karma here and now?
Yes.
Okay, so you don't believe in
No, I don't know about
other time.
I can't say I believe in it, but I don't know of that. I don't know of it. I mean, I can't believe anything, but I'm not banking my present life on something that when you're dead and come back, that karma going to reach you. You're going to pay for it after you die. You know, I don't accept that.
Because I think that's why we, and I include myself, subscribe to religion, because that's part of the consolation.
Yes.
Knowing that, you know, you're going to get paid back, you know, because when I heard you talk about this lynching for just seeing something by accident, I mean, that person lost his life for just looking at something.
Well, no.
And so there's no...
Well, we can't see what is happening right now in these wars where men believe that it become martyrs for Allah.
For the virgins, yes.
They will get virgins when they reach in heaven. You know, so you can't say, oh, people actually live and die for that thinking.
Yes.
You know, they console themselves in that thinking, you know?
Yeah, but what if you're not a Islamic, you know, extremist, so to speak, that you don't subscribe to that? How do you make yourself at peace if you don't believe in retribution or payback or redress? Do you understand? It's hard.
Yes,
it's hard knowing that you suffer and that there's no... Okay, is
for the
that
person
it?
who makes you
I
suffer.
don't get a reward. Yes.
For the person who makes you suffer, yes.
Yeah, so how do you...
I think people... I just say... all right, I don't want to say I have to console myself in feeling that somebody must pay for it, or that when I die, or when that person dead, they have to come again and pay for it. It's something where happen. It's like, for instance, somebody steal your money, and them steal your money, and you say, well, it's just something that happen in life, and you just make it go on, you know? You don't really spend...
Hard, though. That's hard, Mutai.
Eh?
That's a very hard...
Yeah, but you're not going to spend your life trying to figure out if somebody can't go and lick him down or something, you know, you're not going to figure
No, I know, you don't spend your life dwelling on it because you can become bitter, but it's very hard. I mean, what I'm saying, it's a very high spiritual thing to think, okay, this person's done this thing, I can just let it go.
Well, most of us let it go still. Most of us let it go. It's just people who is in a religious perspective feel that retribution must follow the person even and after death. There is most religious people believe that. But you have things that...
Go on. But even if you don't believe it's after death, even now, because even now, just like how we're asking for reparation,
yes.
we're looking for, we want some pay, we want compensation for what has happened, and so that's a natural thing to want that.
Yes.
If somebody harms you, isn't it?
Yeah, but you're not asking for reparation from the people who actually did the action. You're asking for reparation from people who benefited from the action. You see, so it's a different thing from saying the person who did the slavery, like Mr. Beckford now, him going to come back and have to pay for what he did. As opposed to saying the generations of Mr. Beckford who is profiting off it must pay.
Okay.
You know, I don't want to sit and believe that if it don't catch him now, in the next life it's going to catch him.
Okay.
It's like a Christian, say, when he dies, in all the bad that he does, if he just turn himself onto the Jesus Christ, things will change in the next life. So he will get his reward in the next life.
Right.
That is a good hope. You are hoping that is good. But I don't know if it get anywhere. You know, I don't know if it get anywhere more than console you. It's like, all right, somebody die and you cry for that somebody, but somebody who is dead has been relieved of suffering and pain. It is the living that is in the problem with the person who died, not the person who died itself. You understand?
It's a tough thing. It's something.
Of course, it's tough. It's tough. Of course, it's tough. It's tough. Okay. That is why people turn to religion.
Yes, religion. Yes.
Yeah, because religion kind of give you sometimes a sense of hope. Most of the time, a false sense of hope.
Right.
Most of the time. So the Bible says faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. So people hold on that.
Yes.
Until they die.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have to find something in this life will give you strength even at the weirdest corner, at the weirdest situation. You have to find something in this life.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm glad to hear from you again, though.
Yes, I appreciate your show, and I'm on YouTube, and I'm spreading the word about Mutabaruka. So
you're on YouTube?
Great work,
you're on YouTube?
Well, they have different shows, and they have these black consciousness movements, and I talk about Mutabaruka. You need to listen to him because blah blah. So.
Yes. That's nice.
All right, Muta.
That's nice. Yeah,
take care.
Okay.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.
Oh gosh, man, that little sister there. Every time she call, I feel like I'm doing something right. Believe you me. When you hear a little sister like that, I mean, not even a little sister, tell you, but her voice is so cute, I must say. Okay, here goes. Il,
Muta.
Blessed man.
Well, a long time I don't really give a shout up still, man.
All right, sir.
I come take in the nigga with the ganja fest.
Yeah?
And I tell you, man, I sit down out on a van out on the roadside.
The way never come in?
Because I ain't too plan to come in still.
Okay, all right.
But I play some wicked, not really wicked, some good ganja tunes still.
Okay.
Right on the roadside over there, and I tell you.
Yes. You hear them from out there. You hear them from the shockwave outside there.
But say out of the street side of the shockwave.
Yeah, man. They never come in either, yeah.
Never come in, so are you entertain me, So
give thanks, man.
Really grateful. That's what I say.
Give thanks.
What I say with the weed and no motor, the event is good, but the people them really want to make the money off of it. All right, to make the money off of it now, motor, we have to work with the government because the people cannot carry the weed from here go over them country just so if the government don't give them a
sanction it, yeah.
They sanction it, so a portion of weed for left Jamaica for the people them have a money. They don't know, so the government over that the side of the country they have to know. But the weed we are coming at the country.
Yeah, but making money off of ganja don't mean you have to export it to the a whole heap of money can make anya so with it.
Yeah, but that's true still, but we feel if export or give with the money still, when we send it away,
I feel say the legalization of it in Jamaica, you're going to give it the money.
Well, I'm going to legalize it, it's going to be a problem. You can't legalize so today.
Why? But the legalizing, you're going to give it the money. If you deal with the money for the ganja, the legalization, you're going to give it. Export it. Right. Suppose the country don't want you export no ganja to them country, import no ganja in them country. Suppose them don't want your ganja in their country. What you going to do with the ganja?
You have to deal with it as they approve it.
No, you can't deal with it to make them approve it. And them must approve it and tell you if they want it. When I say the amount of sick people in Jamaica right now, I think say enough money can make Anya so help run certain things much better. I mean, exporting ganja is one thing, but right now, a whole country, you'll have to go wait for a year if Canada going to make it legal to import it to them country, which may be possible, but, I mean, until that time, I think some money can make us with it too.
But you see, if you legalize it just a motor, them have abuse it, you see me?
But them abuse it, them man abuse ganja already, man. The man them abuse ganja. The man them sit up on the car and abuse it.
So look what them do now, motor. What day when the Prime Minister give you right to plant 5 trees in your yard, you see me? I say? And them things. You see when the liquor, putting them in the yard now, motor, I'll go and play with it or smell that. Smell of it, when them brain is so strong, they affect them so probably they take
so where them supposed to do now, in terms of the planting?
Well, I think they plant in a hills motor and a bush to farmers, you understand?
All right, sir.
In your yard, because when you put in a community now and the youth start to abuse it, you get a bad name.
Okay.
And then you go here say, Why they put them a bun ganja and them a drop down and...
But you know, it's a long time never talk about that about ganja. Say ganja mad people and mad rasta and mad make the people them turn rasta and them something like.
And that we don't want.
But that them a do for a long time.
Yes.
Why you think ganja ban? Why you think ganja you have to go to prison for ganja? Because them say a true we go on and pure madman they don't a Carol Garden there, and that's why them have to make the thing mandatory.
Right.
Yeah.
So we want to stabilize the thing from the people them. That means say when we make money off of it, the money can help the country and help the people them do certain things. But
all right, sir. I hear you. Hear?
Yeah, but here we are going on now.
Yeah, we hear. Don't we not hear already, man?
No, man, I tell you, if you come over and watch it then, come if you get some work in the morning time.
Then what that have to do with where you are talking about that about ganja?
No, me only I tell you, my plan to come up still.
Yeah, so what that have to do with me? That me ask you.
I'm not going to see you, man, and drink a cup of beer, man.
You drink beer with me?
Yeah, man.
You know me as a man who drink beer?
Anything where you drink, man, cock.
No, but all you come and watch you come treat me to beer, Rata. I neither drink beer, I neither drink lion, neither drink.
So I'm going to buy for you put food on my wedding when you come then.
No, no buy nothing for food on for me, man. How you say, man?
You know, come on my wedding then.
Me don't know. Who you married to? Who you married to?
Lisa Hanna, man.
You married to Lisa Hanna? Well, me not come then. Me not come. Because me did one time when you say you're going to marry her. Me not want to come. Me not want to come. I go jealous. All right, sir. Me go jealous, Virgin. We gone. Here, sir? All right. Yes. A Jimmy Cliff. Oladum.
Yeah, Oladum. Oladum and Jimmy Cliff now. Long time we make this connection, you know. See? 20 years, Oladum. So we make this connection here from way back from the root of civilization. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yes, Muta.
Blessed man.
The virgin doesn't know, say, when you talk about the youth, them are going to smell it like
smell
a smell.
I
guess it means smell the peppermint, smell and everything. That can't do them nothing. If you're not burn the ganja, the THC not release.
But I don't know why them have said these things. I don't know why them have said these things, Virgin. Believe me. I don't know how smelling that ganja go get you mad. You know, I don't know. Why them have said this thing?
And I guess you might want them to realize that I know go for smoke, ganja can make money. You have clothes can make, you have paper can make, you have all kind of things.
Look here. Money can make by ganja even if you don't export it.
Yeah.
Even if you don't export ganja, money right at all, you can make enough money on it so to change around the economy. Right at all.
But I don't know America alone ganja. Canada not try to get $38 billion out of ganja from about a year or two ago and end up going
Uruguay them go. Uruguay. Yeah.
So, you know, it's there.
Yeah.
Understand me. And Jamaica not always find a way to get you.
But I don't know why, even the brother they know, even when they attack like him attack for ganja, why would I want to say the people them are going to smell it and get away? You know what I mean? Like
that me can't, me say it like say him I want them got the misconception.
Well, him say him stand up outside and never come in at something, so.
True.
All right, sir.
Maybe that's why it's your side kind of want to smell.
Yeah, no want to smell catch him and get him mad.
Me can't get one because story about some Jamaica.
Yeah, man, what you mean, man? Then you are giving the story to man.
A brethren lick me that one out there, you know. It's like 3 Jamaican that foreign somewhere. I'm going to England that way. And them out the train with 3 of them foreign brethren them. So the 3 foreign man them buy the 3 tickets. Jamaican them go buy 1 ticket. Foreigner said then Jamaican, you know, so them run off 2.5 by train. Man, I say, man, just go, just watch the ride, watch the lick. And then go on the train, the 3 Jamaican just like bomb and hole one of the bathroom, them the toilet on the train. 3 of them go inside there, so when the conductor come on and see light and say somebody is occupied, so you just knock on the door and say, tickets please, and just push out the 1 ticket. Conductor take that and gone. So when them don't know and conductor gone next car, them just come out and go hold a seat, hold them 3 seats and sit down. So the foreigner them say, what? So when they end up on the return journey, now, foreigner, them say, oh, we have to do a thing like Jamaica and them, so them go to Bap and buy one ticket for three of them. Three Jamaica no buy no ticket. Foreigner, them say, then Jamaica do well and get run off a train. Say, that's what's the right, man. You know, that's not what's real. And go up on the train, the three foreigner, them go hold.
Below where you go come with it.
Three foreigner, them hold a toilet. Well, Jamaican just go down and knock on the door. Say, ticket, please. And then push out the ticket. Jamaican just take you on the chair and go over the next time.
That's not you come with it. We do it, that's not you come with it.
My brother must me up now. No. We do
it, that's not you come with it. Jamaica take the ticket and go over there. Not for the rat.
But that's what Jamaica, we think of, I don't know. So we must survive.
Yeah, man, of course.
That's what I say.
I have a whole heap more joke with them thing there about Jamaica and Englishman, but I don't talk about them joke upon the radio. Yeah, anyway, give thanks.
Sometimes I just have to use the anecdote and to say alive.
Yeah, give thanks.
All right,
Sentado ali na grama do aterro sob o céu, observando estrelas junto à fogueirinha de papel. Tentar o frio, requentar o pão e comer com você. E os pés de manhã pisar o chão, eu sei a barra de viver, mas se Deus quiser, tudo vai dar pé, tudo vai dar pé, tudo vai dar pé, tudo vai dar pé. Everything's gonna be alright, everything's gonna be alright, everything's gonna be alright, everything's gonna be alright. No woman will cry. Oh no, woman will cry. Hey, little sister, don't cry no tears. Oh no, woman will cry. So see you now. All of you on Jamaica, make the link. In this diaspora. We don't know the root of civilization. Yeah?
Jimmy Cliff out at Summertown, man. May I tell you, why you look all the people in Summertown while it's to Jimmy Cliff right now on the cutting edge. Yes. Summertown, man. Jimmy Cliff. Okay. Here we go, you know. Here we go. You know, so I want to play some merengue tune. I'm going to take a call. Yes. Iel
Musa.
Blessed man. Cutting edge.
So, yeah, but if I call for bonus, my fire still in a motor car.
Might make it burn me. Might make it burn me.
No,
yeah, because I have enough water in there and rain and fall like wow.
Okay. No, for real. Yeah, I call from Texas.
Okay.
You know.
Bonfire.
Anyway, me talk about the sugar thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know, it more talk about this type of sugar what them have is a thing what them use in the diet coke and them type of thing there. You know, people might think it helps them lose weight, but
the Splenda kind of thing.
It's really not. Come again?
It's a kind of Splenda kind of thing them put in the coke them.
Yeah, the Splenda, yeah. But you mentioned the Splenda, and the main ingredient in the Splenda now is one thing what them call aspartame. I don't know how to pronounce it. Aspartame or aspartame. I don't know exactly how to pronounce it, but that's the main ingredient. But what it is a thing where it fool your body now into storing fat. It's what I'm saying, and that causes diabetes.
Yeah.
Right? Not only that,
it can cause cancer as well.
Yes, yes.
So I say, and how they make it now is a GMO food. I don't know if you know what GMO means, genetically modified organism. You know what I mean? So
you ask me don't know if you know what GMO mean. You know, so I should have locked you up for ask me that.
Yeah.
I should have locked you up, Bridget. No, I should have come and Texas, come lock you up,
Yeah. My fault, Muta, my fault.
Yeah.
Right? But what may I say, for those who don't know that.
Yeah.
But what they do is a bacteria named E. coli, them engineered at the lab so that it defecates.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So the feces from the bacteria then use it to make the aspartame. Aspartame, whatever it means. Right? So, for the people who love buy the diet drinks them and use the Splenda and them thing there, it's no good. Right? I think Jamaica should have known that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Of course. So tell me something now. You're not Texas, you don't use none of that?
No, I don't drink diet, I don't drink light, I don't drink nothing like that. I don't use none of them low fat, none of them things.
You ever go in one of them McDonald's fast food restaurants and you hear a person say, sell me a Whopper, the double burger them, and then them say, sell me a Diet Coke. It's a joke. After you don't eat the Whopper, like them want a Whopper. The McDonald's Whopper, them the double burger them, and then them want a Diet Coke. Them don't want to drink the normal Coke. Them want the one with Diet Coke. You know what I say? All right, contradictions in contradictions. Yeah.
For real. Another thing, since I mentioned on the GMO thing, I kind of have a concern about Jamaica State, where because from my understanding of things, it's like because of the whole IMF thing.
Mm-hmm.
From my understanding, because we under the IMF thing, it's like we now have to import food that we already produce.
Yeah.
It's what I say. And may I get to overstand now, say corn is one of them. So this GMO corn then in Jamaica now, as far as what me know. Right?
Mm.
And I kind of not too happy about that, because I feel like, say, eventually it's going to take over the market and people are going to stop grow the corn I usually know about, because when I was a little youth, my grandmother usually grate like the dry corn thing and make her own a cornmeal, and the sweet corn, it can't make that.
No, it can't make that. It can't be greater good.
Yeah, exactly. It's what I say.
Yeah.
So it's a concern. It's a personal concern to me, because I don't really want for the GMO thing take over.
But but you know that don't take over America already, The GMO can't don't take over America already.
Yes, it take over America. Jamaica, me I worry about.
Yeah, but them import it down here. Wait there, them import it down here, Them import the American corn down here. American corn, American soya, American wheat. Them three things, like soya, corn, and wheat, is the main GMO product them, and all of them there long here from America. All of them there.
And to be honest, Muta, I eat that,
Yeah.
I eat that. I don't believe so for even have them things in our body,
Well, me 9-10 it, you think I'm going to eat, you eat it, me eat 9-10 it. So that thing, anyway, we have to move our brethren, we have to move.
All right, respect, Muta.
Yeah, this is the Cutting Edge on RFM. You know, some I feel for play some merengue. I hope people don't know any merengue. Listen.
La única banda que toca hasta las 5 de la mañana. Orosario. Ya está. Hasta las 15. Me gusta mi verte en tanga, yo quiero tenerte en tanga, qué linda te ves en tanga, ponte otra
like a bazooka. You are listening to Mutabaruka.
Some Cuban music there, merengue style. Yes, cutting edge.
Hi, Muta.
Blessed.
Good night.
Good night.
Long time, me call in. A lady from St. Thomas, but remember her?
Well, if a woman from St. Thomas, I don't know which one of them is.
The one where you used to walk barefoot like you, man.
Okay.
I used to call Dr. Sangali.
All right.
One to Dr. Sangali.
A long time I don't hear from about her. I know that she get a stroke one at the time, but I don't hear from her again.
Anyhow, the man they were calling like while I tell about him I want to give a beer. All my invited to beer. He say I want beer for him and I tell say more married to Lisa.
We don't know where I'm
married, you know, go on, I invited about beer. Anyhow, you don't know if you ask Muta what happened to the hospital, then what's going on. When you go to the hospital them now, there's no medication out there for the people them. If you have high blood pressure, you cannot get no medication. They write the prescription and send it to the pharmacy.
Okay.
And when you go to the pharmacy, you can get it. But most of the hospital them now, they don't have nothing at the hospital them to assist the people. But when you go to the pharmacy, you are getting it.
Well, you know, to say, them have to change up all the ministry because everything wrong with it. So, them change up the man, you know, and put the next man there, and the man fire some man and hire some man now. Some don't know where that happen.
But I'm out in some crisis now.
Terrible thing.
Them are run down politics, and they don't sway politics. They don't say politics are mash up. We don't get no help again from nobody. If you don't have no money, no motor, dead, you know.
God, that me I tell you somebody that day, say money make you buy life.
Dead, you know.
God, that me I tell you somebody that day, say money make you buy life, you know. And that me tell somebody that day, say money buy life right now. If you don't have no money for go to doctor right now, you don't know where poor people do.
And motor sometimes you go to the doctor, but you not get the right medication. Because you go to today, you get it, and tomorrow you have to go back again because you are not giving it the right medication. Because if you get it, you are not going back. So I don't know what really happened to now. You just saw people are dead, motor. Sickness take over the whole wide world now. So most people don't have any love again, no matter where you are, the motor. I listen every night from cutting edge, you know. Sometimes I have to laugh. Because some people don't know where they are calling at the game.
And that me I say.
You know, I like to have credit for years.
And that me I say too.
And people well want to talk to you about good things, you know. Even the waterfall out here, no water now that come at the fall at St. Thomas. No more water
You
again,
see,
you know.
about you talk about?
No man, me talk about the one at White Horses.
No water no in there?
No water no there, the fall, motor. We don't know what. The water just gone.
You have any hose?
No, you don't know the fall.
No, but you know, you may ask me. Can give some water for book back at the fall from up on my yard, you know, because too much water up there. Too much water up there, Miss Mama.
What Well, send some, come give me a center man.
You just give me a hose, send a hose, come give me, man. Send a hose, come give me. I'm stretch your hose from long they come up here, so over my yard.
No, I can't sponsor that.
The amount of water, I tell you, say, it's like when they say, please water, stop fall, rain, stop fall, the amount of water, man. I tell you.
Oh, my God, we need a center man.
Yeah.
But every night, me listen, I know I want to big up 2 friends.
All right, go on now.
Mr. Campbell, man, to go be.
All right.
I want to big up Blast for a while, called Bonnet. I want to big up Mr. Superintendent, Mr. Marlon Nisbet. And all of my friends are my too. So I want to big up Miss Area from me now. I want to big up the whole area from crew.
All right.
You can't get run much at all.
I don't know where you can't get him. Where you want him for? Can't go down a St. Thomas?
No, man. You can't get him on the radio station or in there all the time. Can't pick it up at all.
Okay, well, you have to go move near to Montego Bay then.
But, and the man I invite you down there, I not come to myself.
All right.
Anyhow, you know me, I beg you pay one of Bob Marley. If you live in a glass house or so stone.
I know Bob Marley, that's Peter Tosh.
Yeah, I want to go all of my friends, them are sent to work.
All right, Mama, give thanks, yeah?
See you, Buddha.
Yeah, all right. Luciano coming through.
Police and thieves in the streets, ooh, they're fighting the nation with their guns and ammunition. Police and thieves in the streets, ooh, they're scaring the nation with their guns and ammunition. From Tennessee to Revelation, the next generation will be telling all these crimes committed day by day. No one tries to stop it in any way. All the peacemakers and war officers, do you hear what I say? Yeah, 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 yeah. Police and thieves in the streets, ooh yeah, fighting the nation with their guns and ammunition. Police and thieves in the streets, ooh yeah, scaring the nation with their guns and ammunition.
You are listening to Mutabaruka.
these crimes committed day by day, and no one tries to stop me in any way. All the peacemakers turn war officers. You hear what I say? Yeah, 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 yeah. Bandits and thieves in the streets. Oh yeah, they're fighting the nation with their guns and ammunition. Bandits and thieves in the streets. Oh yeah, just carrying the nation with their guns. Yeah. Bandits and thieves out there in the street,
The man called Luciano Junior Marvin Tune, Police and Thief in the Street. This is the Cutting Edge on RFM, doing it differently, you understand? So we're going to play this tune now. Somebody has to play it. Muta, you play that tune one night and I never hear play it again, you know. It's not true, you know, because you know, listen all the while, that's why I say you never hear it again. Here goes. Alright, make we catch it now.
Lying alone. When I heard her talk and a creeping walk, as I look around frightfully, we were lying in the center of a cemetery. You talk about rat, and nearly break me head. The living running from the dead. And go say, don't run me lad. Come on, let me play a game of card. Well, it's now a running in truth. Me put stick in a mango root. I fall on inside the tube. I get up with a zoom, zoom, zoom. What had me sad and really mad, I was just about to start a little romance with me sweetheart. I kissed her twice, just feeling nice, when a voice said, Mister, you brave, to be bringing your girlfriend on top of me grave. You talk about run, and nearly bust me head. The living running from the dead. I go say, don't run me lad. Come on, let me play a game of cat. Well, it's now a running in truth. They put stick in a mango root. I fall on inside that tube. I get up with a zoom, zoom, zoom. I saw the whole world shake. I know in big trouble. This time I sure I see the devil. I see a tall white horse on top of a big black cross. As I fall out of my dead, the horse say, kids, come go to bed. You talk about run, and it bust me head. The living running from the dead. I go say, don't run me lad. Let me play a game of card. Well, it's now running in truth. They put stick in a mango root. I fall on inside a tomb. I get up with a zoom, zoom, zoom. As I reached the street, a tall gentleman I meet. I was feeling so happy to tell him my pride in the cemetery. He said, I can understand. You're a wild young man. But tell you not to be blamed. When I was alive, I was just the say you talk about rap, and nearly bust me head. The living running from me.
I tell you that funny that say the man I talk to, I don't pay him never know. When I was alive, I was just to see him. But you know what say, right now, if you're going to cemetery, you don't pay afraid of gunman. Yeah, because the gunman, them take over the cemetery too, you know. Yeah, man, I look for all things for all dead people body too. Silver chain, gold chain, anything where you find at the coffin. May I tell you? Yeah, Lord Kitchen, man. You know, so we're going to continue. Listen to that tune now. We want to play this tune here for your little sister up in that summertime. Well, say, child, listen to me right now. All right. She said, child, listen. I don't know if she'll listen, she drop her sleep, but I want to play this tune here for her. Here goes now. All right. And I want to play now. All right.
A Bajan and a Trinidadian dying with starvation. The Bajan say, look, Trini, let we make a cook. I put the rice, you going put the meat. Then we going both have something to eat. But when the pot was nearly to done, the Bajan decide to pull a fast one. He said, Trini, I'm a born Bajan. I don't like to fight. But when come to the occasion, man, I stick for my right. You put in a 12-cent meat bone, you wash on a lice. I gonna give you a word of advice, check your meat out my rice. Trini got in a big rage, what wrong with you, bitch? I gonna tell you flat, bitch, I ain't taking that. When we was shopping, we both agreed the food will be cooked and share equally. I put my last penny in this meat, and I ain't moving until I eat. Bitch, Trini, I'm a born Bajan. I don't like to fight. But when come to the occasion, man, I die for my right. You put in a 10-cent meat bone, you think that is nice? Well, don't make me have to tell you twice. Kick your meat out my rice. The Bajan then said to Trini, man, don't tell lies on me. I never told you that we going join and cook up in two. What I mentioned, I can repeat. I said to lend me a piece of meat. Trini so vexed, he begin to cry. Bitch, in front of me eye, you telling a lie. Bitch said, Trini, I'm a born Bajan. I don't like to fight. But when come to the occasion, man, I die for pride. You put in a 9-cent meat bone, good Lord, you want half a slice. If you don't want a Bajan ice, check your meat out my rice. By this time, the pot finish. Trini pick up a dish. The Bajan said, no, 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 never happen so. If you want little something to eat, man, take a fork and pick out your meat. But if you want one grain of rice, the Christ, I squeeze your throat like a voice. Trini, I'm a born Bajan. I don't like to fight. But when come to the occasion, man, I die for my right. You put in a 8-cent meat bone, you Trinidadian license. Before I squeeze you like rice, check your meat out my rice.
May I tell you, scamming in Hall is, may I tell you what, a big scamming that, you know, imagine you're a mother cook and the meat flavor up the rice. And when it don't cook, the man who have the rice that is must take your meat all time rice. Big scamming. But listen to that one, you know. Listen to this one. We step on the same vein. Lord Kitchener, we step on the same vein. Listen to that tune, yeah.
Last night I had a romance with a tight-tongue mopsy, who then confessed that she so loved me. Last night I had a romance with a tight-tongue mopsy, who then confessed that she so loved me. She said, dude, I am all alone at home tonight. You can sleep because my grandmother gone out of sight. I felt so glad that I lie down on the bed, but with a tight-tongue language. The mopsy said, your teaching not dying, that up. Me grandmother told me but you what is 25 to 5 that up. Me grandmother told me but you what. Well, friends, you can imagine how I felt so badly to know I had to leave her company. I spoke a very English word that reached my memory just to apprehend her sympathy. I said, dear, you know I would not dissemble. My love to you is inexpressible, and still with all I can try to break her heart with the same tight-tongue language. The mopsy start, your teaching not dying, that up. Me grandmother told me but you heart is 25 to 5 that up. Me grandmother told me but you heart. Well, then I made a promise to engage the mopsy at the earliest opportunity. So she came around my shoulders and started to hug me, as though she had some strange hilarity. Well, in the midst of romance, I coolly stole a kiss, and then I request a little stupidness. She said no, gave a chuckish tummy near, and with the same tight-tongue language, she then declared, your teaching not dying, death up. Me grandmother told me but you what is 25 to 5 that up. Me grandmother told me but you what. Well, friends, when I saw she was so hard to persuade, I then considered I had to invade. So I held on to the craft with a determination, regardless to all her objection. In a clinch, I noticed she started to bite and squeeze. I couldn't cope because I had a weakness in my knees. Then I heard her rapping, the grandmother call. Well, with a louder volume, the mopsy ball, your teaching not dying, that up. The oye the each is the but you what? Don't pass you the fiondo, that up. The oye the each is the but you what?
You know, to my brethren where I call all the while, I give them joke, yeah. He must love that truth, yeah. He must love that truth, yeah. Believe you me. I want to forge this truth be here, man. Believe you me. I want to forge this truth. It's very, if you don't listen carefully, though, you lose the whole joke and essence of the truth. But believe you me, it's a funny truth. Lord Kitchener. Lord Kitchener. All right, you know, say, we want to give thanks for me hungry. You know, so we always mention me hungry. Because me hungry is the one who make we do hungry. It's funny. It's a paradox. Me hungry is the one who don't make we hungry. Me hungry, they are marketplace. One side upon Red Hills Road and the other side upon Kansas Spring Road. So I yell up all the one them in me hungry who make sure say Muta is well up with the raw RA food. The raw food. Yeah, so I yell up me hungry for that. We want to yell up Tony. Tony left me long time. Long time she gone. And we want to yell up Mutabaruka as the operator, as the engineer. Aye, sir. Believe you be. You know, so we are continue. We are continue. Here goes. I hope no rain will fall out this, you know. Believe me, I can't take no more water. Rain really a fall, you know. I don't know which. The lady that was sitting there, they are St. Thomas, they are not getting no water. No, sir, you need to get a hose. Ask, when name Minister Chick V there, if you lend your hose, man, if you stretch from which part I live, go there, I give some water in the river there, man. Water enough.
Let's look at a speech delivered by a white slaveholder,
Louis Farrakhan.
Willie Lynch. He said, quote, I respect or admiration. You must use the dark-skinned slave against the light-skinned slave. You must use the female against the male. And you must use the male against the female. Distrust all blacks, but it is necessary that your slaves trust and depend on us. They must love, respect, and trust only us. These keys are your keys to control. Use them. Never miss an opportunity. And if used intensely for 1 year, the slaves themselves will remain perpetually distrustful. Thank you, gentlemen. Willie Lynch. Therefore, because of fear, envy, and distrust of one another, many of us as leaders, teachers, educators, pastors, and persons are still under the control mechanism of our former slave masters and their children.
Yeah, Willie Lynch. Willie Lynch. Willie Lynch philosophy still exists amongst African people. Still exists. So you know what we have to know. Matrix in the house. We give thanks in the moment. You know, so we're going to forward there 2 to 5. And no matter if we come back at 6 o'clock. At 6 o'clock, they tell me to come back here. I think the people are not easy. I don't have to pay for do them thing there.
So we can't go home neither.
Lord, watch out. I'm going to left you now. No, but you are left your 6, but you're not left your 6. No. Because you don't have to do that, so you're not time. But me now, I have to go wake up back, to come back as a 6.
No, that is a tough like right.
Hey, and then I have to go do a program 2 o'clock. I terrible thing that, you know.
My shop, when we get called for that, we're not doing this.
And you know what hurt me about it? Me always I come early, you know. And then when me come, and me one day, you know.
Yes. Yes.
And me one day, and then I give you nothing. You see, if me come here tomorrow, when they tell me to come, I'm not to nobody else. So.
You know, we have to go tell them.
Hey.
Hungry.
We are sent for my food clear at town. I make them pay for that.
Express.
So, yes, because they can't come wake up me after me done the program till 2 o'clock. Come tell me to come back at 6, and when me come at 6, I'll 8, 9, 10 o'clock.
I get no food.
Them not ready. No, it's not none of them joke there. All right, so me I want, the problem is that them asleep. But me I go wait till tomorrow morning. Before me say this, me I go wait till tomorrow morning I will talk this because...
You will say me I sign off for morning to make sure you're there. Can you give the last words?
You give me the last word? Yes. All right, I'm going to try to come back 6 o'clock then.
We give the last.
All right, sir, all right. I got regard, you know. Matrix in the house, I got regard. Ken Booth, are you right?
sunshine when she's gone. It's not warm when she's away. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone, and she's always gone too long. Anytime she goes away, wondering this time where she's gone. Wondering if she's gonna stay. Ain't no sunshine